Well, rock and roll.
Hell yeah.
Welcome back, Criana.
That's me. My name's Criana. I'm back.
Yeah, and, and welcome
Bye.
to everybody else as well. Because he is moving, poor Byrne will not be able to make it to the session this week, but we will see him next week, hopefully, and if not, very, 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 very soon. Um, we shall soldier on.
That's right.
Okay, so Criana,
Yeah.
yes, Ellie's locked in a closet naked, covered in syrup, but we can explain.
Oh
No,
god.
okay, first of all, she's not. First of all, I'm GM Squee.
It would just be like the craziest thing. You come back and you're like, what did you do to Ellie?
you break
No.
character?
In fact, I think what we'll do is really I'd like to just start us off at the Rhapsody, because we ended last session with you guys doing some general narrative things in the morning, and I think this is a great opportunity to bring everyone together and do a little bit of world building and give you guys some options. A-okay by you guys?
Sure.
Okie dokie. So the majority of the of you wake up at the Mackenzie, Angus Mackenzie and his wife Rose, their residence, and make their way to the Rhapsody. Early in the morning, well, not too early in the morning, around 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock in the morning. As you go through the bustling streets of Velda City, give me a moment as I actually bring us to the bustling streets of Velda City.
Just like I remember.
It is
Oh.
just like you remember. It is almost like the city itself has stood still. There's very little traffic on the roads, but the sidewalks are choked with individuals, particularly around newsstands. You hear a big cacophony of newsboys and newsgirls ringing out the screaming headlines of this morning's issue of the Velda City Chronicle. Night of Terror. Mayor Paul Hill assassinated on front stoop. Captain of Industry Albert Sweet dies in fatal mugging attempt. Read all about it. And sure enough, people are reading. They're reading with furrowed brow. Almost every single man and woman on the street, whether they be dressed in business clothes or in workers' overalls or simply a homeless individual that's been living in a box, all have a newspaper in their hand, and they're all reading and muttering to themselves. Many businesses, by the looks of it, are completely shut down, while people are utterly shocked at the events that unfolded last night. Thankfully, the police there are no scrums, as you can see, but it is very clear that the police are also out in force, asking the public for any information they might have on these heinous, violent crimes. You make it back to the Rhapsody with little issue, and because folks are so distracted, Patrick, you are able to tamper with the electric line going in to the Rhapsody easily enough. You with making it look like you had some serious electrical problems, and that's why you had to shut down your nightclub the night before. In addition, the newcomers, the allies that Tyrath sent to help you deal with the Order of the Lapine, the two surviving ones, Sienna, the tattooed woman, and Ferris, the strong stone-like obsidian entity, both admit that it would be best if they stay out of sight. And down in your vault, down in the sewers beneath the Rhapsody itself, they make a small kind of camp out. Ferris is still very much wounded by the looks of it. A large chunk is still completely out of his stone-like form, and it doesn't look like it's healing anytime soon. However, Sienna does communicate that if Ferris is in pain, he's moving slowly, but he doesn't look like he's dying, but also doesn't look like he's recovering. He has limited mobility, so she thinks it's best if she watches over him, make sure nothing happens, or if something does bad happen to him, that she'll be able to let you know. But considering they both of them stand out considerably in the public, and they did promise Miss Jacobs, Miss Johnson, that they would stay out of sight for the duties that they had to do. They will be down there until you get the golden rabbit. Other than that, the rest of your friends, from Frank Patterson to Blink to Yasmin to Jalea, Basilisk, August, and the rest, are silently returned to the Rhapsody and go and start the small business, small tasks amongst themselves. It is approximately 40 minutes later that there is a rap in front of a rapping sound in the front entranceway door to the Rhapsody Club. Looking out the second or third story windows, you can see 2 police cars and 1 slick black vehicle, which you recognize as the vehicle that Police Chief Arthur Green traveled into the Rhapsody during your opening night, when you met and when Patrick helped him out into his vehicle when he felt very ill due to drinking too much. What do you do?
I mean, Al would answer the door.
When you open up the door, you see the familiar face of Arthur Green. He is, as a bit of a refresher, he looks mid-50s with dark hair with gray right above his ears. And he has a long hound dog face. He has the body of a middle-aged man, which is to say he's not overly corpulent, but he definitely has put on a few pounds over the years. By the bags underneath his eyes and the extra crease wrinkles in his face, it's very clear that this man has not got a wink of sleep for quite some time. Flanked on either side are 2 young police officers who look grim, but don't speak and allow their captain to speak for you. Arthur Green gives a small, weary smile, and he says, "Good morning. Is it all right if we come in? Is it all right if we come in and have ourselves a bit of a chat?"
Oh, of course, officer. And he'll open the door and usher them inside. Can we get you something? I know it's early, but would you all like something to drink? Coffee, perhaps?
"Yes, coffee, the strongest Java you got," he says, as he gestures to the 2 gentlemen and asks them to stay outside, ensure that they are not going to be interrupted. They nod sternly, and Arthur Green enters into the club.
Al would motion him to one of the bar stools and then go back behind the bar and start making him a coffee.
Arthur Green heads towards the bar, but instead he sits himself at one of the tables nearby the bar. So, for example, like that table right there. He slumps his shoulders some, and he says, "Are you alone? Are you the only one who opened up this morning, or are there other folks around?"
Oh, they're around.
I wouldn't mind saying hello to them. So once you get my coffee, can you round some folks up?
And
I have some questions to ask you.
All of a sudden, you hear like scrambling from underneath one of the tables, and Ellie pokes her head out and says, "Hey, Al!"
What? Hi. Whoa. Hi. Good morning, Ellie.
Morning. I didn't sleep. Oh, hi,
feller. Hello, Miss Vixen. Are you feeling all right? You didn't get any sleep?
Oh, I feel great. I was just looking at some of these books here under the table. It's very nice and secluded. Al, can you get me some of them coffers too?
Sure. And he'll start making a second glass.
Ellie
Glass mug.
Ellie smiles and then slowly like nods, looking at the cop, and just retreats back to underneath the cloth table.
Al shrugs apologetically at the officer when her head disappears back under the table, and we'll bring 2 cups of coffee, set one in front of the officer, and hold one under the table.
Her hand like scrambles, feeling around for it, and then finally she grabs it and pulls it underneath very slowly.
And then he'll say, if you will give me just a moment, officer, relax, have some coffee, and I'll round up everyone I can find.
Hold up a second. Your canary there, he says. I know she's cute as a bug's ear, but how come she's acting all ducky?
Ooh, Ellie?
I'm
Yeah.
I'm not sure what you mean by ducky.
Ellie like pokes her head back under.
Ducky, strange, like she's got a screw loose. You know you're supposed to drink on top of a table, not under a table like a 3-year-old.
Oh,
Is everything all right, miss? Something got you spooked?
I just told you I stayed up all night. I'm a little wired.
I'm sorry if you find that behavior strange, officer. We've never seen it.
To be fair, Al, it is a little ducky, Ellie says, like looking back at Al and kind of giving him a snooty look.
Al shrugs. It's Ellie. As if, like, he says that as if that explains everything.
Ellie looks
Arthur
back at the...
Green. Go ahead.
Ellie looks back at the cop and just says, "It's all of us, like, creative types. You know, we just do strange things, but we're really smart, I assure you." Now
Lavin comes down the stairs and asks, "Who's at the door?"
It is Chief Police Officer Mr. Green.
Arthur Green.
Oh.
Chief of Police, yeah.
And Duck Overlord. No?
I will look at Lavin and shake his head.
I thought it was funny. Ellie kind of shrugs.
Lavin sees the coffee and goes and makes himself one, somewhat Irish.
And with that, Al will go gathering whoever he can find quickly.
Sure, most of the NPCs are will come along, although they, during this conversation where Arthur Green will be drifting in and out from time to time. I'm not going to have them take the center stage. More importantly, which PCs are going to participate. The only individual who doesn't show his face is Frank Patterson, because he says in his erratic tone that he thinks he'll bring up more questions than answers.
Oh, that's fair.
Patrick would definitely show up. How early in the morning is this?
It's 10 o'clock.
Okay, so...
Maybe 10:30.
Yeah, Patrick did get some sleep. Great.
Normally I wouldn't ask, but if Tom doesn't show up, that might seem suspicious. So
Tom's going to be with the rest of the NPCs.
Perfect. All right. Perfecto.
Okay. So, with the bulk of folks assembled near the main dance floor, restaurant, and bar of your club, the Rhapsody, Arthur Green finishes his cup of coffee, puts it down on the table with a clink of the china clanking against the plate. As he says, "Forgive me for not standing up and making my introductions. I assume all of you know who I am. And I also assume you've all heard the grave news that our poor city has struck. That struck our poor city last night."
Actually, I heard some tales of it, but we just arrived here from the Inferno. McCree's house? Mackenzie. I keep thinking Mackenzie, and then I think it's not. So Al would say, we just arrived not too long ago from the Mackenzie's residence, so I'm not too caught up on the details.
They don't got papers up there?
It's not that. It's more that I was being a polite guest and not reading newspapers in their home.
So tell me what you know then.
Only that something happened to the mayor?
Something happened. You don't know what happened to him.
No, should I?
Yeah. Every schoolboy has been screaming at every corner ever since 7 o'clock this morning.
Never
He
paid
was
much attention to
assassinated.
schoolboys.
I see.
Ellie shows the newspaper she was reading from underneath the table.
Ah. So,
She's the learned one of the group.
I told you, us creative types. Although it was a little disturbing, so I didn't read all of it.
size how you read your newspapers or anything like that. I just got myself a couple questions and then I'm going to be leaving. I got 8 other establishments to visit this morning, and you do brew the best cup of coffee out of the 3 I visited so far. So let's get down to brass tacks. You were at the Mackenzies. When were you at the Mackenzies? From what time until when?
Oh, I think from about 8 in the evening, and we spent the night there. We were discussing business opportunities.
What kind of business opportunities?
Well, we're not ready to go public yet, but I don't suppose it would hurt to tell you. We're thinking of giving the Mackenzies a stake in the club here in return for perhaps showcasing some of their exhibits.
I see. And do you usually conduct business during your prime business hours? How come your club was closed last night?
That actually is an unfortunate kitchen incident.
Tell me about the incident.
Hang
Rats.
on. I as a player. No. I as a player. I know it had something to do with a stove or kitchen.
Well, no, that's what started, but we ended up separating the electricity.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah,
was a
my
short
mind
I
was
just mentioned it.
going.
I mentioned it, yeah.
Yeah. Al would say, well, there was an issue with the electricity, and if we don't have a kitchen, we don't have much of a bar.
I guess that explains why it's so dark in here.
Yes, we're hoping to get that fixed soon.
I see, says Arthur Green as he stands up and he says, "You know, I got some friends over in the city utility department. Why don't you show me where your electrical problems is, and maybe I'll make a few calls, get one of the utility workers here this
Lavin
afternoon, fix it up for you."
Lavin walks over to the nearest light switch, flicks it a couple times, and says it's right here. See? Doesn't work.
Yeah, I'm sorry, you'll forgive us, but we're not electricians. We don't actually know where the problem's coming from.
So it'd be all right if I looked around then? Maybe I can ferret out the source for you.
Go right ahead.
Great, thank you, he says. Why don't you, few of you here, come with me? I like to chat while I look around. I got a few more follow-up questions, and I'll be out of your hair soon enough, says Arthur Green.
GM,
Yeah.
was this the man who was throwing up in a toilet?
Yep.
Okay.
Oh, he's your buddy.
He's
That's
also
solid.
the man who was like, oh, I know what's really going on. You're the Ferocious Five. Well, if you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours.
Mhm.
Yeah.
He's also the man we're pretty sure is corrupt.
Arthur Green heads back towards the kitchen. And he gestures towards Lavin. And he says, come on, follow me. You might learn something. And Al and Mila and Patrick and Alicia. He gestures for you to follow him as he goes through the swinging doors into your restaurant.
Sure.
Yeah.
All right. He looks around by the stove and he tries the light switch there too. He looks behind your giant freezer. He opens up your cooling fridge, whatnot, checking things around. And as he does so, he asks, "So when did this start? This power problem?"
Oh, late yesterday afternoon. I wasn't here when it happened exactly, but it had to have been before, say, 5?
Oh, you make a call to the electric company?
No,
That's a
we
trick
don't know the
question.
number.
And our phones don't work because that's electricity. I know that.
Yeah, so
We also
what was
thought
your
we might.
plan?
Well, we thought we might save a buck. We got a couple guys on the staff here that know a thing or two, but after looking around for a bit, they weren't able to come up with anything. So we were planning on calling the electric company in the morning sometime here.
Ah, I see. Yeah. You want to get that fixed. Don't want to be closed for too many nights. Although I'm sure folks really aren't in the mood for drinking right now. Unless maybe it's to drown their sorrows, but that's not the Rhapsody, right? It's lively, it's fun.
Well, sometimes the anticipation of not having what you want helps business. You know what I mean?
That's why we
Yeah.
weren't too worried about getting it fixed right away. We actually thought that maybe being closed for a night might pick up business the next day. Tell for a good story.
Arthur turns towards Lav and he says, "You talked about your staff. Can you give me a list of everyone who normally works for you, and if you can, do you know their whereabouts?"
No. I mean,
No, you don't know their whereabouts, or no, you can't give me a list, or no to both?
It's not exactly my department.
Okay, whose department is it?
I'm sure we can muster up a list of staff, but in terms of their locations last night, I don't know. I guess you'd have to talk to them.
Sure. I
Is
wouldn't mind
there
that
a-
list. And Alicia nods a little bit, and she says, "I can get you one, no problem."
Out of curiosity, officer, is there a problem?
Yeah, our mayor's dead, don't you know?
Yes, but I'm assuming you're not going to every establishment in town asking where all the employees are.
Absolutely not. He waits for Alicia to leave as he to live. Sorry, he waits for Alicia to leave as he leans up against the prep counter and he looks to you and he says, "Not every racket in town is run by a vigilante group. And I gotta make sure you're squeaky clean before I ask for your help. So, is it alright if I keep asking questions?"
You make a good point, by all means.
I don't follow, but sure.
Says, "So, I need to know your whereabouts for certain. If you were lurking or doing something that you weren't supposed to, go ahead and tell me now. Because, frankly," says Arthur Green, "I am up to my eyebrows in shit. A mayor, a member of public office, hasn't been killed in Velda City since 1873. And people are going to want to find the perpetrators and they're going to want to find them fast, which means I can't just use my police department. I got to use every resource available to me. And I'm assuming you, as do-gooders, the people who put away the Gin Baron, might be interested in also putting away a horrendous assassin or a two-bit thug mugger."
Wow, think of the opportunity. If you solve this, you'd be in for a promotion, a raise. You could be a hero of the town.
Not to mention that if we help, we couldn't obviously take credit for it, so someone would have to.
Arthur sighs. He says, "No, you don't get it. This ain't the time to be jockeying for a promotion. I'm thinking about the other way. You're one of those glasses half full types. Well, right now where I'm sitting, I'm glasses quite empty. If I don't find someone soon, the deputy mayor, who's now our mayor, is going to shit can me and replace me with someone else who says they can get things done. So, if I want to keep my job, if I want to do any semblance of justice before I retire, I have to find him. I just have to." So, you were at the Mackenzies all night last night. if I go over there and I ask them, I'm not going to find any inconsistencies in their story?
Al shakes his head. No.
Okay.
Funny thing about memory. Just never mind.
Funny thing, he says, if the Mackenzies can't recall what happened 12 hours ago, then they need to be shipped off to a funny farm.
No, you can go speak with them. They will, of course, let you know the same thing.
All right. Anything else I can do to help corroborate your cover, your alibi? Make sure everything is nice and tight, because I am going to follow up on that. And if everything rings true by the sounds of it, we'll have ourselves another meeting. We'll come up with a plan on how to tackle this assassin. But hey, if you want to save me some time now, if you know anything, any rumbling on the streets, it doesn't matter how minor, how strange, how infinitesimal it might be. Right now, I have every single working trooper and detective, from the arson and the vice units all the way to homicide, running down every single lead and tip we got.
Al will act like he's contemplating, and then he'll say, to be honest with you, Mr. Green, after the Gin Baron, we all decided it might be best to lay low for a while on such activities, given the high profile of it. We, well, for all intents and purposes, have been out of business for some time. If you need help, it's not that we're not willing, of course, but that we didn't have our ear to the ground. So I'm afraid I don't have much information for you, if any.
Does he speak for all of you? Asks Arthur Green as he looks to Mila and Patrick and Lavin.
Well, we've been busy doing performances and stuff. I mean, we got a
Did
new
you
place
hear
here.
Ellie's performance on the radio?
I do remember hearing a warble or two. I also heard that you landed smack dab on your face. Is that true, or is that just some dizzy rumor?
No, it's true. Boy, did that hurt.
I guess that would rattle anyone's cage. I'm sorry if I put you off, he says. My temper, my patience is short. I don't think I'll get a lick of sleep until we find this person. I don't think I can afford it. Well, that's fine. Then, like I said, I'll just check things out on my end, make sure I'm getting in bed with the right folks, and then I'll come on by and we'll talk and see if I can't convince you to come out of retirement for a week or two. Hopefully sooner. Hopefully shorter than that. Well, I took up enough of your time. Good luck with your power. I'll be in touch, he says with slumped shoulders as he exits the building. He exits the kitchen. Alicia arrives from the back room behind the bar with the list in his hand, and Arthur Green waves his hand. He says, "Don't worry about that. Just keep that list handy. I might need it when I come back. But for now, just keep it on you." Alicia gives a confused look and looks to the party and rolls her eyes and retreats back into the manager's office behind the bar. Arthur Green exits the building, already looking like a man half defeated, as he and his young officers get into their vehicles and drive down the streets of Velda City.
After they are well and truly gone, I would be like, well, that is a desperate man.
Desperate
Yeah,
for what?
it's somewhat inconvenient to have him breathing down our neck.
Why is he so desperate? I don't get it. He seemed just kind of stressed.
Well,
You heard
not
the part
only
of,
has his, well, I assume his patrons just been, well, taken out. If he doesn't find out who did it soon, I believe every word of his story that he would be removed from his position.
I mean, yeah, but why would that stress someone out? It seems like he would be less stressed if he was out of it, you know?
It's entirely too logical.
Perhaps he simply hasn't considered that, Ellie.
Ellie shrugs.
Unfortunately.
So, my dear players, what would you like to do next? I remember that the plan is that you want to scoop up the last 3 statues. And actually, I don't need to talk to you about it. I can play with you a little bit here. So, I know it would be around noon that Dex Delaney would show up at your place. Are we okay to time speed up to that point?
Yeah.
Sure.
So, Dex lets himself in to the Rhapsody, dressed in his trench coat and hat and cigarette hanging out from his mouth. It doesn't look like he's changed his clothes since last night, as he meanders up towards the bar. Basilisk is nearby, and sure enough, Dex asks for a drink and also asks for Basilisk to gather up, his compatriots, the rest of you guys. So who wants to come down and meet with Dex?
Ellie's gonna hide behind the counter.
I'm assuming Lavin would already be at the bar. I mean, where else am I gonna go?
Yeah, good point. Wait, when you say you're hiding behind the bar, you're literally trying to hide behind the bar?
Yeah, but she's gonna what she's gonna do is whenever Dex asks for a drink, she's gonna take it and fill it with water. And so she's gonna be behind the counter doing that, trying to save this poor man's life.
Because he's not gonna notice, right?
Wait a second.
If
Does
he's an
Ellie do that
alcoholic-
with my Star Kabosu?
It's not good for you. Okay, continue.
Okay. So, as Patrick, Al, you're gonna come on down too?
Sure.
Okay.
Heck yeah, well.
Okay. As you gather round by Dex, and he takes a sip of his drink and scrunches up his face and pushes the glass aside and asking Lavin for something a lot stronger than water.
Lavin does it right.
Lavin what? Does it right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Ellie
He actually...
switches her face
As
at
opposed to
Lavin.
Ellie, who's doing it wrong.
Yeah, gotcha. He explains that he just got off. He just finished talking with the sister and brother-in-law of the nurse, Donna Wright, who's the owner of the octopus figurine. Dex says that he's managed to arrange a meeting between Donna Wright, and although Dex is posing as the individual making the inquiries to see if she would sell it, she wants to talk directly with the individuals who want to purchase this statue. Dex says this is good news because she's either very motivated to get it out of her hands, maybe she's trying to size you up, or maybe there's something else that he can't see, but a face-to-face meeting with Donna Wright is not the worst thing in the world. If you're free at 2 o'clock this afternoon in a few hours, you can meet with her at the Jazz and Java Cafe at the north side of Velda City. He takes a sip of his new drink and gives an appreciative look over towards Lavin.
Ellie's
Cheers.
slapping Lavin's feet.
Lavin
Stop.
Slap.
We'd
o'clock
definitely
sounds
be
great.
available.
Wait, sorry, both of you talked at the same time.
Ellie's whispering to Lavin or whoever's nearby, saying, "Tell him 2 o'clock sounds great."
2 o'clock sounds great.
There you go. Good job.
Great. He says, I'm gonna go home and pass out for a little while. The entire city is in one hell of a tizzy. And if we're smart and we keep our head low and don't ruffle any more feathers, I imagine they'll try to hook this on somebody else.
Well, you should know we had a visit by the police chief earlier this morning.
Oh, really? Huh. You couldn't pay me enough money to be in his shoes right now. The poor mope.
I imagine he wants to recruit our help. Once he checks out our alibi, of course.
Good, he says. I suggest that you do it. The closer you are with the police, the less guilty you're gonna look.
Al nods. Well, as far as the fun goes, there shouldn't be anything going on for a while. Get some rest.
I will, he says. Be careful about who you talk to about all of this. I understand because I knew Paul Hill and Albert Sweet and that strange old woman. They were murderers and cultists, but that's not how it's going to play out to the public. Right now, we're the villains. And frankly, the sooner I can forget this whole incident, the better. If you need me, I'll be at my office. Or, of course, at the Night Owl. I'll wait to hear from you.
Al will nod.
And with that, Dex Delaney pushes away his empty glass. And without any sort of pomp or circumstance, exits the Rhapsody.
As soon as he leaves, Ellie leans up from behind the counter and says, "Who is that man?"
That's Dex. He's helping us.
Oh, okay.
Well, he has a point. If we are in on the investigation, then we can pretty much point it wherever we want it to, or make it stall, or at least help that.
But don't we want to help solve the crime of who killed the mayor?
No, we absolutely do not want to solve that crime.
Oh. Okay.
Basilisk shrugs, unless you want to throw your new friends underneath the bus, but I'm assuming your Tyrath friend won't be too happy about that.
Oh, we don't want to make him mad. He's a nice
Not to
guy.
mention, the mayor's kind of overshadowing Sweet right now, but if they think one of our comrades killed the mayor, they might start looking closer at Sweet as well.
Does someone have a dog?
Yes and no. Did Tom get Hannibal back yet?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah,
Tom did
yeah.
get Hannibal
It's-
back. It's Hannibal.
Can I just say real quick, out of character, it sounds like a ghost dog because it's like a distant echo.
It's a ghost dog. Hannibal died. He's come back.
Oh no,
Whoa.
don't tell Bird. We'll keep that between us.
This way, he can never be hurt. He's immune to MDC damage.
No, all dogs
He's
do
in
go
a
to
better
heaven.
place.
It's like what a villain would say.
No, all dogs stay in purgatory and haunt the life.
Oh god.
That's what a villain would say. He's fine now. Nothing can hurt him. He's dead. Anyway. Okay. Sorry, you guys were talking.
What time? Wait, real quick. It's 10 o'clock.
2 o'clock.
No, it's not 10 o'clock.
Yeah, it's noon.
Oh, it's noon now.
It's
So.
noon, so it's in 2 hours.
Okay,
Yeah.
got it. Okay, cool.
Mm-hmm.
So, does anyone want any lunch? Anybody hungry?
Yeah.
Let's all
Also,
raise our hands. Who's hungry? Ellie raises her hand.
You have no power.
Al raises his hand and then goes, just in case, maybe we should be ready to
Eat.
pack up and leave very quickly. There's no guarantee the Mackenzies will corroborate our alibi.
Well, we have a secret hiding spot where Frank and I usually hang out.
Yes.
It's not gonna fit everybody.
Well, at least Frank and I are safe. It's very dark in there right now.
However, Frank does bring up the fact, and he says, moving fast might have a more important implication. If they're all guarded by the Order of the Lapine, now that the head has been cut off from the snake, they might panic, they might go to ground, they might try to destroy the statues or to hide them someplace else. You'll have to move quickly, definitely. Yes, yes.
Yes, well, I was referring more to, let's say that Green gets it in his mind that we are related in some way and tries to arrest us. We don't want to fight honest police officers, and we certainly can't get the statues if we're under arrest. So a contingency plan to perhaps go to ground might be in order. And hopefully we won't ever need to use it, but not preparing for such a thing is
Well,
a bad idea.
I hate to break it to you, but I'm pretty sure a lot of people in the city know who we are. Like, where are we gonna hide?
Al shrugs. Well, that's the point of coming up with such a plan.
And I think that's a good idea that we should talk about over brunch. Or lunch. It's a little late, but I do
I'm
feel
making
like...
waffles!
No, I'm just saying there's a diner down the street with our name on it, and Ellie is very hungry.
Yes, though we can't talk about this at a diner.
Criana is being facetious, and she's like, let's get on with the story and worry about that.
Yeah.
Patrick does go, couldn't we just use Dex's safe house?
Ow.
Mm-hmm.
We could.
I guess
Could
we don't
ask
need
him
to go to lunch then.
As a player, I dust off my hands and leave.
Okay. So, do you guys want to keep on chatting here a little bit, or do you want me to time speed with you guys heading over to the Jazz and Java Cafe?
I was just thinking like it'd be simple. Just say, tell the NPCs, hey, be ready to move at a moment's notice. Don't get too entrenched in something, just in case.
Keep your eye open.
Yeah.
Okay. Works for me.
Other than that, I'm good.
Yeah.
Okie dokie. All right, then I will. First of all, one last question before I move us ahead. Do you guys plan on fixing your own power anytime soon, or are you gonna just leave the lights off?
Shit. Well, let's get Basilisk on it. I feel like he's maybe could do it, right?
Basilisk is gonna suggest maybe the egghead who took out the power should be the one to put the power back in, because Basilisk don't want to be electrocuted.
Okay, that works.
Alright,
Basilisk looks to egghead Patrick.
Patrick would like to roll his egghead skill.
Okay. Go ahead and roll it. Make it easier by 20 since you're the one who disconnected it. I should certainly hope you'd be able to fix it.
What is this?
Yeah.
Oh shit!
Oh,
Good
I
thing
succeeded the exact same amount that I
Wow.
did to turn it off.
Is Patrick
Oh, you remember
colorblind? Is that why it's like so hit and miss?
Well, it's black and white, so
Oh, I
everyone's
guess true.
colorblind
Yeah, you're
technically.
right.
Yeah.
You don't even have that.
Maybe he's a special. He only sees white.
It's pretty tough to
Alright.
cut the green wire in a black and white film.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
exactly.
saying?
For the dark gray wire
Yeah.
and the less gray wire. Anyways, before you head off to the Jazz and Java Cafe, you. Oh wait, Dex is gone. Turn off the music. Patrick, you reconnect the power with absolutely no complications. Able to retrace retrace your steps.
I don't mean to interrupt here, but there's some essential missing parts here. Shouldn't we call the electrical company, or are we just going to say that one of our staff did end up managing to fix it?
Well, no, that's up to
Just
you
because
guys.
the
Yeah.
police were asking about it, and it's going to be annoying.
Sure.
Actually, yeah. I mean, it might fit our story better if we do call the electric company and have them come fix it.
Well, maybe. In fact, maybe I shouldn't have brought this up because actually now we can say that actually one of our staff did fix it. Patrick, we can actually say that Patrick fixed it when he came back from Mackenzie's.
That we found it and fixed it.
Yeah,
And if,
okay.
Oh, and if he's like, well, why didn't you do it sooner? It'd be like, well, we just got back that morning and you showed up.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
Well,
and
staff
also-
could do it, but Patrick did it.
Yeah, and also like we were saying, hey, you know what? If it's closed for a night, great. It'll generate more excitement the next night. Not knowing that this tragedy would happen. So we weren't
Also-
too concerned with it.
Seeing it in the dark is probably not the best either. Daylight
Oh,
helps.
yeah, true.
Either way, you guys so you guys have your cover story with that. That's great. I am all right. Is it okay if I move ahead a little?
Yes.
Okay. Sure enough, you get in your vehicles and you head over to the Jazz and Java Cafe. It's in the north end of town, a part of kind of an old downtown area. When Dex was explaining this to you, he also mentioned that the Jazz and Java Cafe actually first opened up during the Prohibition era. Many places were speakeasies, which one ways they pretended to be a simple coffee shop or a music club or a pet shop or etc. But really, behind closed doors, they sold alcohol. The Jazz and Java Cafe, since alcohol was prohibited to drink, was a place in which a person can order coffee, some slight snacks, sandwiches, and listen to jazz music. And it was not a speakeasy. It was a straight-laced establishment. In fact, the owners of the husband and wife owners who established the club were staunchly in favor of prohibition and used the club as a way to show how people could still get a lot of entertainment without needing the evils of liquor. Most straight places, once alcohol was, put back into Velda City, actually closed down. But the Jazz and Java Cafe had such talented musicians and had such a good cup of Java that it actually has been able to make ends meet and still remains today. When you drive up to the building itself, it takes about 25 minutes to get there, and it is a little bit out of the way. The old downtown area has old buildings that look a bit older than the mainstay of Velda City, especially where the Rhapsody is placed. But the Jazz and Java is in pristine condition. An old wooden building with a lovely kind of earthy quiche to it. It is open from 8 o'clock in the morning till 10 o'clock at night. And as you enter the building itself, you can see that it is moderately lit. The main stage itself, with a simple piano and microphone stands, similar in arrangement to the own Rhapsody, although it has a more of traditional stage. It is extremely well lit. In addition, the bar and the entrance lobby is very well lit as well. However, most of the area is filled with small booths, and in the booths hang simple standing lights. Simple lights that hang from the ceiling and create a very small beam of light onto the table itself. Outside that little beam of light, things are a little bit darker, more shadowy. Perhaps it's to help the patrons relax. Perhaps it's supposed to attract more attention towards the stage. But as you enter, sure enough, two black performers are playing some jazz music. And since we had fun with Dex Delaney there, I'm going to link you a video here for you guys to kind of play at your pleasure in the background. I'll put it here in the Discord chat. I'll be playing it myself.
Discord.
Let me just turn it down a little bit. Ooh. We lost someone.
I'm back.
Hello.
General. Sorry. There's the Rifts chat.
Yep. Okay. Let me know when you guys are good for me to continue.
I'm good. It's just loading for me right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ooh. Wow, do you
No
think
problem.
we'll finish the conversation before the video ends?
I hope so. If not, shoot me in the face.
Alright, I do like 3d6.
As you look around the jazz and coffee shop, you see a few patrons, a couple couples, a small family, nibbling on some sandwiches. And sure enough, in a booth along the far end, you see a single woman. She is in a very wide booth, enough to have at least 6 or 8 people in it, but she's sitting there alone. Sure enough, Patrick and the rest of you who remember her from your opening night do gaze upon the visage of Donna Wright. She isn't in a nurse outform, and she isn't in the modest gown that she was in when she was at the Rhapsody. Instead, she's in a simple, with a white overcoat, a white turtleneck underneath, and a long white dress. She has white gloves on her hand, and these dark buttons run straight from the neck of her coat all the way down to the top of her dress itself. She's drinking a small cup of concentrated coffee, an espresso, as she has her eyes gaze towards the stage.
Al would say, Patrick, you know the most about these statues. Do you want to take lead and we can back you up?
Patrick lets out a bit of a hefty breath before saying, "Did tell her I was a minor, if I remember correctly, when we first met. Not quite sure if I should really uphold such things."
It's okay, they don't sell alcohol in this place.
It's true.
Mm.
Unless he means a different kind of minor.
I'm pretty sure he means a different kind of minor.
Oh, okay, then you got Criana. Ellie will walk up to the lady.
Okay. As you take the lead and walk towards her booth, sure enough, Donna Wright does notice the movement, and she looks up at you, and she gives a bit of a surprised look on her face and a look of recognition, but she doesn't say anything until you actually approach the head of the table. Do you sit down, or do you stay there standing?
Oh no, yeah, Ellie has Ellie's wearing kind of a fancier dress and has a boa around her neck, because why not? And
Sure, why not?
She sits down next to the lady, and
Donna, yeah.
Donna flips the bow and says, "Well, it's good to see you here."
Donna gives a bit of a smile. She says, "Well, it's very good to see you too. It's very rare that a celebrity graces my table. I hope you're doing well. I heard this horrible rumor that you had a bit of an accident during one of your shows a few nights ago."
Well, that's just gonna happen whenever you're doing live theater, you know? Or, I mean, shows. Whatever I do.
Yes. Well, as long as you're okay. I do love your bow. That's quite fetching.
Oh, thank you.
Were you just here to say hello, or
No,
she kind of looks around?
I believe my friends and I are supposed to meet with you. I don't know why they're, "Hey guys, over here. Ooh, hee hee, haha." She's like waving her hands at the gang.
Okay.
You see us by the door, like staring sheepishly. No, yeah.
Maybe. I don't know. What are you doing?
Al would be a few steps behind Ellie.
Yep, I would have sat down right after she did.
Okay.
I take it you, I don't need to make introductions. You remember us from the night before?
Well, I didn't have a face-to-face meeting with all of these fine gentlemen, but she looks towards Patrick, and a look of recognition hits her face, as she says, "Oh, but I do remember we did have quite a pleasant chat. I believe I wanted to dance with you, but you took that up for another time." As you can tell, the music isn't the type of dancing jazz that you're typically used to. She says, let's just put all of our cards on the table, so to speak. I'm supposed to meet with individuals interested in purchasing an art piece of mine. You are them?
Yeah.
Oh, she says. If you don't mind me asking, why are you interested in my statue?
Well, you see, I've been reading a lot of books lately, trying to get myself more educated, and I heard a great investment was to collect fine art pieces.
She gives a small smile and she says, I think perhaps you and I were reading the same books. It's the same motivation for me to actually get that as well, a piece of our local history.
That's right.
She looks sad for a moment and looks down to a cup of coffee, and then when she looks up again, her heavier face framed by the halo of that table light, she says, "Take my advice. some things aren't what you expect them to be. If I could go back and not purchase this piece of art, I wouldn't. And I'm going to advise you the same thing.
Well, it's just a statue, ain't it? It's not like a bomb or something, right?
No, it's not the statue itself that's dangerous. We assumed that Mr. Neal, who had passed on and his art pieces auctioned off, wouldn't be attached to it anymore. Unfortunately, there are powerful, dangerous people who are attached to this artwork. And I wanted to talk directly with the people who wanted to purchase this and tell them it wasn't for sale, but not because I'm trying to play coy or get more money. It's because it's extremely dangerous.
But I don't understand. How is it because the people want it, it's dangerous?
She says, I might have said too much. If I go into any detail, it will just complicate your lives, and you seem like a really, really sweet young woman. Someone I might have been very good friends with 20 or so years ago. You're talented, you have your own nice club. Don't spoil that. Just thank me. Maybe we'll sit here and enjoy the music, have a cup of coffee, and then you can go on your way.
Ellie kind of glances back at the boys.
Well, I very much appreciate the warning, and I'm saddened to hear that it's caused you so much trouble. We were considering it because it is one of a collection, and, well, we're thinking about new themes for the bar, including a bit of history, exhibits, so to speak. And we would so love to have the collection to put on display. These people, if they are dangerous like you say, would find quite a bit of trouble causing problems if it's so publicly displayed.
She shakes her
Patrick
head.
Then just
Go ahead.
it looks like there's a bit of realization on his face, and he's going to go and whisper to Al. Probably a little bit more than like a trying to avoid like earshot.
So you're okay, all right.
Whisper.
And Patrick's going to go. Do you think that if she means the same dangerous people, we might want to get that so we can lure them out?
And just so I'm clear, he said this loud enough for her to hear, or too
Yeah.
quiet for her to hear? Okay,
No, he said a little bit above,
right.
trying to mask it, right? So he's trying to make it. Not trying to make it obvious that she wants him to hear.
Got
but
it.
if she just happens to hear, all the
Got
better.
Mhm.
Al will think for a second and nod, and he'll say, I, again, appreciate your concern, but we would very much still like to purchase it. We need to purchase it.
Sounds like it'll save you a lot of trouble.
She says, I'm not completely foolish, she says. I've had my run-ins with the law and grayer sides of Velda City. I know, for example, that strangers don't just ride into town with their purses filled with money and open up a popular nightclub that used to belong to an infamous criminal named the Gym Baron. But we're not talking about simple street thugs and gangsters here. We're not even talking about the Gin Baron. We're talking about people much more powerful and influential. Much more threatening. You know, people give the Gin Baron a bad rap. But I knew him, and I knew him very well. And he was, first and foremost, a businessman. Businessmen you can talk with, negotiate, relate to. They're interested and inquire things that they want, and only use violence as an absolute final measure. These individuals use violence as the first measure. I think, you wonderful young people, it's far above your head. And unless you can convince me otherwise, I don't see any reason why you shouldn't just find another piece of artwork for your new establishment.
Are you... I'll pause. Would it be suffice for us to convince you that it is safer, or at least we would be in less danger than you would already are owning it?
She says, I'm in no obvious danger right now, but if something were to happen to my statue, then I would be in a lot of danger. The only way you can convince me of this, I think, is twofold. One, there are individuals that are not threatened by these people that I talk about. I don't know exactly what they're about, but I do know they have influence, and even these darker forces shy around them. You met both of them the same night that I met you at your club. A striking blonde woman going by the name of Johnson. She works at the Velda City First Trust National Bank during the day, but I wouldn't suggest talking about anything other than banking during her working hours. The other one is a young panache radio star named Lawrence Carter. If either of them could vouch for you, could let me know that my concerns are unfounded, and have, for lack of a better word, their protection, then I would be very comfortable giving you the statue. She says, I don't want any money for it. This is a burden on me. It's been a burden ever since I acquired it. And I am not a woman who's used to not being in control. The only other way, she says, to convince me is this statue is not the only statue that they care about. If you were to find other ones, it would prove you'd be able to acquire those statues and deal with the consequences of these sinister, sinister men and women.
Yeah, we already have some.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to say, actually, I was going to suggest that since we already have quite a few of these statues, we are in this danger whether you sell it to us or not.
She says, although that's encouraging to hear, I wasn't born yesterday. How about, she says, tomorrow we'll meet here at the same time. People are horrible creatures of habit, so it wouldn't be too strange for us to have coffee and listen to jazz 2 days in a row around the same time. You bring some of these statues, show them to me, and I'll give you mine.
That sounds like a terrible idea. Why would you be doing this in public?
Or, Al says, why not? Why don't you come by our place tonight when it's open? Have a drink on us, and we can show you them on display behind the bar.
Donna gives a small smile and she says, I appreciate the precaution, but as I said, I'm a woman who is not used to not being in control. This area I know very well. This establishment I know very well. I'm comfortable here. And public, well, frankly, these people do not like showing their ugly sides publicly. It's as safe as can be, as long as we're discreet, careful, and quick. We don't need to be rip-roaring around this entire establishment or down the street showing off these statues. A quick glance, a quick reveal behind a dark booth, is as safe as you can get here in Velda City. And frankly, she says, I know much more about you than you think I do. And I know for a fact that you're not really the Furious Five. So for me to go in a place that you control would be very foolish for a simple middle-aged woman like myself.
So who is the Fast and Furious Five? I'm sorry, the Furious Five.
Please don't.
I'm sorry, that was completely accidental. So who is the Furious Five?
Ferocious, first of all, Miss
Yeah,
Ellie.
ferocious, my bad.
She says, the Ferocious Five are, or were, a vigilante group. And sure enough, they did, for the longest time, give me a moment, harass poor George Hugh, the gym baron. They took down quite a few of his stills, quite a few of his establishments, but never went for the jugular. They became infamous in the Undercity and in the whispered coffee rooms of police detectives. But then, George, the gin baron, just simply disappeared. And without his leadership, pretty much all of his establishments became vulnerable. The Ferocious Five swept up, claimed great victory, and they left town 2 months ago. I haven't been with George for at least 10 years. And although we parted ways, it doesn't mean I stopped caring about the man, and it doesn't mean I didn't keep my ear to the ground or was curious about his interests. I've met the Ferocious Five, and they do not resemble you very much. Generally, the heights are about the same, and the main twist in their group, she looks over to Mila, did have your same hair color, and she was a singer too. But as you are pensive and cautious, they were loud and bawdy. They loved their double lifestyle. They were playboys and playgirls at the heart of Velda City one night, and vicious and relentless vigilantes the other night. You are not them. I don't know why you took on their mantle, and I don't know if they're out of town. In fact, honestly, I don't even know what happened to the gin baron. I'm assuming he's simply laying low to making sure his old nemesis has gone away. Or perhaps it's just a ruse of his to make them think they won and buy this time and come back. But, as I said, your reputations mean nothing because your reputations are false. That's not to say you're bad people. It's not to say I think you're lying about these statues. But you understand why I want to keep my own court and why I need proof.
That makes
You
sense.
make a fair enough case. Then tomorrow?
Tomorrow.
How about in about 30 minutes?
She says, too suspicious. It is, like I said, individuals are creatures of habit. But for you to leave and come back 30 minutes or an hour might raise suspicions. We want to keep things nice and tidy. And people don't typically enter an establishment, stay there for 20 minutes, leave for 30 minutes or 45 minutes, and come back and order another cup of coffee. Not the sane ones, at least. And we want to see nice and sane and normal.
Ellie glances back at Lavin.
What?
Well, does that sound okay?
Guess so.
Okay.
She smiled. Thank you. I understand, even though we're not really negotiating for the price, everything is some give and take. And thank you for letting me keep my modicum of control. With the recent goings-on, I have a feeling that most eyes aren't looking at us anyway. but it never hurts to be careful. I learned that a long time ago, which is maybe another reason why I'm no longer the main squeeze for George Hughes, the Gin Baron. She gives a satisfied wink, and she looks wistfully over towards the stage and the musical performers, and it almost looks like she's remembering happier distant times.
Ellie will join her in reminiscing but say nothing, and
Okay.
after the song is done, she'll look back at the boys and be like, well, shall we go? Ladies? Boys? My boys. Hello.
I can hear you. I don't know.
Ellie's like
Guys,
waving her hand in
here?
front of the group.
Hello?
Yep.
Okay. For the longest time, I thought Criana and I were the only ones still kicking around. Well, Criana, looks like it's just you and me tonight.
A two-man production of riffs.
Okay. So, is it good for me to get you guys out of the club and down the street onto something new?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay. All right. So give me a moment as I pass on by, and page is going to look blank, but it won't be for much longer, hopefully. So, with the 2:00 coffee date confirmed for Miss Donna Wright, you leave the Jazz and Java Cafe and get back into your vehicles. Would you guys be heading back towards the Rhapsody, or would you be heading someplace else?
Well, there's one more statue out there. However, it might be a good idea to be...
There's actually 2 more statues out there.
Oh, gosh. I am really
No,
out of
don't
it
feel so
tonight.
bad. Yeah, the one is owned by Lawrence Carter, and the other one, last known to be in the possession of Albert Sweet.
Yeah, I was just thinking about the Lawrence Carter one because I was thinking Sweet was dead. No, we still have to get a statue.
Yeah, he didn't have it on him.
However, that said, the police chief is probably going to go corroborate our story and then come back and talk to us, and it might be a good idea if we're around when that happens. Though, again, also getting these statues as fast as possible is important, so I'm kind of 50-50 on going back to the bar or going to... the last thing we should do is go to, like, Sweet's house right now.
Yeah, but you go to the radio station or try to chase down Carter that way, whatever you guys like to do.
So we
So
were kind of trying to lay low, so I wouldn't mind just waiting. Just-
Yeah.
during the drive, Patrick looks he looks more upset at like traffic and other things. Like he doesn't have a very kind demeanor at the moment.
Well, let's go into that, Patrick.
Yeah.
Actually, because you're right about being upset about the traffic. Because as you're driving the vehicle, and you're trying to retrace. Well, now you're retracing. You're going back down the same streets that you recall, going back to the Rhapsody. And sure enough, down one of the main streets, there is this big traffic jam. It looks like there's been some sort of accident, and the cars are clogged up on both ends. So you decide, is it fair to assume that you're going to just take another route to the Rhapsody? I mean, yeah, another route to your destination.
For me, yeah.
Okay. So you take a few different side streets, and as you come on by, and as you idle by one of the stoplights in Velda City, you see off to the down the street to the east, one of the other roads are closed. But this isn't due to any sort of traffic or problems in regards to that. It actually appears that it's closed for a social event by the looks of it. Looking down the street, you can see these large, big banners stretching across from building to building that says the semi-annual Velda City Science Expo. And sure enough, you see many individuals with their cars parked on either side of the street or in parkades nearby. They are filling up the actual streets itself. You see many tents and many other sorts of exhibits. Typically, Patrick, you would know these big outdoor social events would typically be jam-packed with individuals. But perhaps it's because of the unsettling news of the day, not many folks are in the mood to be celebrating science or otherwise. But there still does seem to be a good chunk of people, a moderate crowd milling about there itself.
Ellie's gonna give Patrick a big giant Chris Pratt smile, looking to the event and looking back at him.
Patrick is already swerving into the event without looking at you.
Well, I guess we're taking a detour.
He's still like has like the. He almost looks like he's mouthing things. He's like just so upset.
Ellie is like, Ellie's already like theorizing what kind of events are taking place in the science, with what kind of science it is, and she's like listing stuff off to Patrick like excitedly. Meanwhile, Patrick's just has that stone cold angry face.
Like you just hear like one little Ellie. I don't think that's a science discipline.
So you swerve into an alley to find a little tiny place to park. The public parking here is completely free. Even parkades that normally would charge have suspended any sort of payments due to being paid for the festival to allow that sort of thing. You get out, and when you look down the street, you see. I'm going to kind of give you some ideas of what to see, and you can let me know you want to explore. Right. First and foremost, you see several impromptu tents and wooden stands, and they sell a variety of simple sundries, from cotton candy to root beer to large, fresh cooked corn, popped corn, and also ice cream and this kind of slushed flavored ice. Near the center of the street itself seems to be two large automobile displays. One looks like this long, sleek vehicle, and then behind that has the biggest crowd surrounded by something. And you can't really see exactly what it is, but people seem very excited, and they're laughing and they're pointing. In fact, it's one of the more joyous centers of the fair itself. Along the eastern side, across from the refreshment bins, you also see another banner that proclaims inventions that will revolutionize. Welcome to the year 2200. Oh no.
Who?
All right.
Aw.
And I haven't had to leave because of sick kiddo.
Aw.
That's
Yeah.
okay. It's
Just a kid.
sick kiddo's rough, right?
Yeah.
So we'll join again next week. But you guys are still continuing on with this?
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay.
I want to see what marvelous inventions they have.
I
Yeah,
do
exactly.
too.
Marvelous inventions of tomorrow.
Yeah.
That's pretty much the main highlights. So let me know what you want to kind of wander, and we'll do some exploration on that.
Okay, so first we should get some candy, and then we
Of
should go
course.
look at the inventions, and then we should go look at the shiny car, and then we should see the big thing that everyone's looking at.
Work for you guys?
I am fine in that order, especially the candy part.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, get your wallets out, folks, because oh man, these prices are going to be astronomical.
Woo.
It's not. Variety stores. Some of them look a little bit more professionally made. Manned by husband and wife duos. A lot of ladies serving food. There are a couple. Like in regards to the cotton candy, there's actually like literally like kids just holding big bags and selling them for a penny a piece. So cotton candy is a penny each. Corn, hot cooked corn, is 2 pennies. A bag of popcorn is a penny as well. Fresh root beer is 2 pennies. And I mentioned something else too. Cotton candy, root beer.
Oh, the
and popcorn.
icy. The
Oh yeah, the icy slush thing. Icy slush things are a penny, and a wooden bowl of ice cream, and you get to keep the bowl, is
Ooh.
for 3 cents.
Okay. Al Patrick.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
So, here's what I want. I don't have a wallet, so I'm assuming y'all have some to take care of this. Let's see. I want cotton candy. I want 2 of the corn. I want 1 popcorn. I want 3 root beers. The 3 icy slushy things, but I want each and every flavor, and then I want an ice cream in that wooden bowl.
Hang on. I'm finding our money right now. Burns usually our accountant,
Oh,
but
yeah.
I got it here. Okay, so we have, as a group, just to let you guys know, as a group, we have $199.50.
Okay.
So
And
something tells
personally-
me you can afford this.
Personally, Ellie has $43.23. Where it is, we don't know. Al has 43, Patrick has 43, and Lavin has
You know,
$93.23.
I like to think Bear is the one who holds like
Yeah.
Ellie's money,
All right,
but Ellie
then
has
Bear
no idea.
has $43.23 and Ellie's $43.23.
Bear's rich. Bear's getting out of here.
So tell you
This is
what.
gambling.
Tell you what.
Oh no, Bear has a gambling disorder. Oh no.
Oh, it got sad.
Tell you what. Al will treat everyone to candy.
Sweet.
So what was it you wanted, Ellie?
Okay, so I want cotton candy. I want 2 corns. I want 1 popcorn. I want 3 root beers. I want all the flavors for the icy slushy things, and then I want an ice cream with that wooden bowl.
All the flavors?
Let me. There's 3 flavors, so it's very convenient. So let me let you know how much that is.
Mm-hmm.
All right, cotton candy, 2 corn. That's 4 cents. The slushies are 2 cents each, so that's 6. Root beers are 2 cents, so that's 3 of them, so that's another 6. And how much ice cream?
Just 1.
Just 1 ice cream. Okay, plus 3. So that's 20 cents.
Okay.
Okay,
Patrick,
first
you
of all, I want this is very important. Are you getting them all at once so your hands are just like constantly full of all this food, or is this something that you're getting
she's
throughout?
like, you know, at
Yeah.
the fair when you see the big fat kid walking around with all the food. That's basically Ellie in this scenario.
Yeah.
In fact,
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, in fact, Al's only stipulation would be that Ellie is carrying all of her own candy.
Well, see, now this is this funny thing too, is that normally, like, this is a lot for someone to handle, but Allie has such actual Allie. Ellie is just so dexterous and so agile. Like, from time to time, like if she has to take a bite of ice cream, like maybe like she'll throw it like her cotton candy like up in the air to like free hand, quickly wolf down a couple bites and then catch it.
I love
Or
that
something
image.
like that?
Yeah, I love that image.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
Okay, great, perfect.
Al's just gonna get a root beer and some cotton candy.
All right, so that's 3 cents.
Okay, and then Patrick, do you want anything?
In the coldest voice, without doing any eye contact, he goes, nothing.
Don't worry, you can have some of my root beer. Ellie will like juggle it over to him.
Al is going to look at Patrick and he's gonna be like, "Are you okay?"
His eyes, like, slowly turn to him and go, no, Al. I'm not okay.
What's wrong, Patrick? This is the happiest place on the planet. It says right there on that sign. She points to like a
It
poster
actually
that's falling down.
It's yeah, it actually says it is supposed to say the happiest event in Velda City, but it's kind of during down. So right now it says PSYLP Vel.
What's wrong, Patrick?
He like, after closing his eyes for a while everyone's going like, Patrick, what's wrong? He then opens his eyes and goes, you know, I would love to just yell exactly what I'm thinking, but I don't think you nor anyone else would appreciate it at the moment, as he then like gestures his arms to the people walking around.
Well, what if you
Okay.
just whisper it? Or at least give us hints so we can guess, because we want you to enjoy this play. Look at this! Ellie's holding up, like, her icy, slushy things.
Sure enough, there's a fellow in this. There's a fellow in a giant coat and big shoes with balloons in his one hand, shouting "balloons for sale, 2 cents each," as walks on by.
Patrick, please, there's balloons!
Patrick, what's eating you? I mean, I know we're going through some stressful things, but I think this is more than that.
I mean, we've gone through stressful things before. Honestly, this is probably the least stressful of some of them.
Patrick is going to, he's going to close his eyes, gesture slowly for you two to come closer so he can. Looks like he's going to say something.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I'll lean in.
They both lean in
Yeah.
almost comically.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So why did you tell her that we had a lot of statues?
Oh, because she said that if we wanted to get that one, we had to get a statue to show her. I mean, honestly, I get the feeling it's a trap, but I mean, I want that statue, so.
The one thing they know about the statues is that they've been taken by force in mass. And we have them, and we told them that we have them.
Wait, who knows they were taken by mass? The Order of the Lapine?
Yes.
Why don't we just
Okay.
tell her
Even our
why?
good friend that is now on our side has even said we've basically connected all the dots, but we just need one more verification that we definitely have the statues.
Patrick, I get your concern, but given everything we've done to them so far, I think the least of their worries is the statues at the moment. And we need the statue. We need to convince her of the statue. I don't hear any other ideas or ways of convincing her.
I mean, I get why you're upset, Patrick. You know, looking on it when you put it in the smart words, yeah, that was pretty dumb of us. But then again, it also, I don't know. I figured we'd come up with some zany plan before we meet her tomorrow night because, I mean, it all seems suspicious to me. And Lavin was kind of alluding to that with his dialogue during the conversation. But he's...
Oh,
What?
we're definitely going to need to come up with a plan, or else we're going to be walking into our own death.
Yeah, exactly. Why are you worried? We know that, Patrick.
We are aware that it sounds like a trap. I gave you the option to talk to her yourself. You were more than welcome to.
I was leading up. I even gave you a whisper about, hey, if we get a statue, we might be able to lure whoever this is out. And then you said no.
Patrick, I get it. This is bad improv on my part. I thought you were implying that we already had the statue, so we already had dealt with the bad thing.
Me too, Patrick. That was a little unclear.
Well, it's not Patrick's fault. We just misconstrued it. It was
True
miscommunication.
enough.
We're all
Very
at fault
true.
here. Anyway, let's enjoy the science fair then, if that's all there is, right?
Honestly, Patrick, I'm sorry if we upset you, but it's not like we're in danger now
I
that
mean,
we
we are
weren't
in
in
danger.
before.
Yeah, oh, that's true.
Yeah, but yeah.
I mean, we're in a lot
We
of danger.
just got out of danger. We
We
just went through hell to get into the position we're in, and with
Honestly,
just that conversation beforehand, we've just slapped ourselves on the back with kill us.
Well, honestly, I was gonna
Or
say...
at least, hey, we're the ones doing this.
I was gonna say that we should talk to Dex Delaney before we meet with her because he's got his finger in all of the pots. I think that's a saying. He might be able to help us and figure out a plan. He's smart. I mean, honestly, we're trying to go fast, right? We want to go super, super fast.
Right. Look, I'm sorry, Patrick. I thought you were trying to get me to imply that we already had statues. So, my fault.
But that doesn't mean you should enjoy yourself right now. And if we are going to die, that means we should enjoy it even more. Let's all get a balloon.
Yeah, no, it's fine.
Balloons for sale! Bright, shiny balloons!
Yeah,
That-
I want all colors,
Al
please.
says, that last option aside, she has a point. There's nothing we can do about it at the moment. We might as well enjoy ourselves.
That was my exact thought. Hey, we're gonna die tomorrow. Why not?
Why are
'Cause
you
then
being
Patrick-
so fatalistic all of a sudden, Patrick?
Patrick, we've dodged
Well-
death so many times.
That's the point.
Yeah.
I don't want to keep putting myself in front of the gun.
Well, I mean, I thought when we crossed the rift, that was kind of the whole point. Ellie's like talking like in her normal loud voice, just so you know. When we
Okay.
crossed the rift, I thought we knew what we were getting ourselves into, especially helping out Talrath.
Al like almost looks a little surprised. I very much agree with what Allie's saying. Ellie's saying sorry, very much agree with what.
Ellie has an alternate personality named Allie.
No, please. Well, as long as it stays in headcanon.
No, and I just like the idea every now and then when like Allie actually sneezes, like it's like sorry.
I like to think that maybe Allie is playing cards with Tiny Wrath
Yep.
inside
Yeah,
Ellie's head.
it's my headcanon.
Al says, I very much agree with what Ellie said. I don't like danger per se, but we embarked on this, I guess, quest, if you want to call it, with the understanding that we were going to be almost in constant danger.
Well, and if it'll make you feel better, Patrick, why don't we just come up with a solution right now? I mean, she's just one woman with just our word. We don't even have to show up with the statues. We could just be showing up with like replicas and be like, "Look, I swear these are genuine." Pull a fast one on her.
Why don't one or two of us just turn invisible, scout the place out, and see if there's anyone waiting for us before we approach?
I mean, I feel like there's a way we could work this to our advantage regardless of how disadvantaged it might seem. But at least we have a dialogue opened with her. We didn't close it off. We kept it going.
It's a fair point. One of my instructors used to tell me that if you're walking into a trap and knowing that you're walking into a trap can give you an advantage that they don't have.
Well, that
You
sounds
know
like a
it's
load
coming.
of hokey, but I get what you're saying. Ellie kind of shrugs it out.
Al looks at her and he thinks about it. I mean, he was an asshole, but why don't we have someone stake out the diner, see it from the get-go to see if anyone sets up any surprises for us. I like I said before, I can turn invisible and go scout out the place right before the meeting. I bet you I could walk right past her. She wouldn't even know I was there.
What if we do okay, what about this? Okay, listen
Yeah,
up. She
do.
like leans in. She's like, what if we bring the fake statues and we can easily find just any old statue and say that it's part of the collection and play dumb, and if she is legit, then we can bring in the real stuff, but if she isn't, then she knows that we're just full of hooky.
Patrick looks like he's calming down a bit. I have a plan. It is basically what my other plan is. How about we bring in 2 statues? She brings in her 1.
Oh, yeah, what if we bring in the statues that belong to Frank? Heaven forbid if he lets us take, because he had 2, right? Am I remembering that right?
Yep.
Yeah.
He does have 2.
So we don't show
And-
her the stolen ones, but we show her the ones that have been kind of on the DL.
and then stage another group coming in to attack and try to steal things.
Oh, Patrick, I love Ellie's like shaking and like her slushy's getting all over her hands.
And popcorn and
popcorn.
cotton candy and 1 root beer.
Yeah. She's drinking the
Okay.
other 2. No, she gave one to
So
Patrick.
that we can handle ourselves, and we might be able to convince her to hand it over and trust us with the help of maybe even the police that we were talking to before, that we can even have them say, we have a lead, there seems to be people going around attacking these people who have these statues, and we can gather them up and have them as bait.
Ooh, shit.
Wait a second. I'm not following something here.
What?
If we stage an attack to convince her that we are capable of handling it ourselves, and then she hands the statue over, that means that she was telling the truth about everything. And if that's the case, then all we need to do to convince her to hand the statues over is show her a statue. I'm not sure I understand where the staged attack helps us.
But that's more than it's more. He's talking about getting the police's help, and if we do the staged attack, we can maybe get the police to help us as well. We get more people on our side, Al. He's thinking about the bigger picture, not the little one in your stupid head. Sorry, I don't know where that came from. That was kind of out of nowhere. I apologize, Al.
No, but see, there's another problem with that. We stage an attack with who? Our friends?
Yeah.
Our
no.
I was gonna say our NPCs. Our friends?
Don't break
And-
character.
and then we try and tell the cops that people that look like our friends, where there were witnesses that know they look
Al,
like our friends, staged an
Al,
attack against us.
Disguises. Why are you
I
not thinking about the
Get
bigger
that.
picture?
I'm simply saying that that's a very risky thing to do.
risky.
If that disguise doesn't work, if someone says,
Al.
"Hey,
You were just telling me to not sweat the details, and we were going into this
I
specifically to get in danger, and you're telling me this is too risky."
No, I didn't say don't sweat the details. I'm trying to find out why the attack is necessary. If she's on the up and up,
Twofold.
mm-hmm.
For one, to convince her that this is important, that she gives us the statue.
Okay, we can convince her of that by showing her a statue.
Not necessarily.
Let him get to number 2.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Al's
Thanks.
waiting for number 2. Yeah.
Ellie's voice
Thanks,
suddenly
Doc.
sounded like Inferno's.
2, to convince her that we are not the people trying to get the statues. This is what the problem is to begin with. If we said that we have a lot, 2 can mean that there's a good chunk of them that we do have. More than 1.
So you think that she thinks we're the evil people after her in the first place?
I mean,
If we have a lot of statues, who's been getting a lot of statues?
we don't even know what kind of problems she's run into herself. She just was very vague.
I still think that staging an attack is a very bad idea. If she thinks that we're the people going after those things, fine. Unless she has powerful
That's
members,
not fine.
Al says, then we convince her another way other than staging a fake attack where 1,000 things could go wrong. I think that's way too much of an overreaction and too complicated.
But I love complications.
I know you do, he says, like, genuinely.
So you're telling me that we should go into the place that she told us to go to on her own terms, after telling her that we have a lot of statues, which there's only one group that's been getting a lot of statues, and show them to her and have her go, yes, the people who've been getting a lot of statues have been attacking a lot of people with statues. You seem to have a lot of them, so we should give you our statue. And not also have it be a trap at the same time.
I get the
No.
feeling that there's probably a trap involved, which makes me think we should have something planned.
No, Patrick, I'm telling you that we shouldn't stage an attack because I think that's overkill. I'm not saying that we should just walk in there and act like nothing's wrong. I fully think we should prepare.
Wait,
I
are
just
you...
think staging an attack in broad daylight
Yeah,
in a public
we're-
diner
no,
is
no,
a
no,
bad idea.
Yeah, that is a bad idea. We weren't talking about broad daylight. We know
What?
where she's gonna be. We can follow her. We can make it subtle.
What?
Yeah.
No, I thought we were talking about at the meeting place.
No.
Can I take a moment here? Can I take a moment here?
Yeah.
Because I think there's a bit of a miscommunication. Because I've been listening for a while, and you guys both make salient points, but it's almost like you might be missing each other a little bit. Patrick is really concerned that the cat is out of the bag.
Right.
You've already said we have a lot of statues, and you don't know what Donna Wright is involved in. She might be a member of the Order of Lapine. She might know them. She might leak to them. Doesn't matter. The fact is, he's concerned the cat is out of the bag, and now you guys just got off of the Order of the Lapine's radar by killing their leadership. Now you've just gotten back into it. Squee, you're concerned that you're walking into a trap, and you don't want to put yourself or your friends at risk. So Patrick is trying to come up with an idea to explain why you have a lot of statues and take you off the Order of the Lapine's radar, while you're talking about preventing physical violence to yourselves.
Well,
See
yes,
what I mean?
No, I'm literally just I'm of the, or Al's of the opinion that literally, like I said, staging an attack in broad daylight at a diner is a bad idea. That's all he's focusing on right now.
Okay, so why don't you guys brainstorm an idea of throwing them off the trail that you're the big nemesis to the Order of the Lapine?
Right. I completely understand the concern here. I'm just thinking that
all.
plan
It's
of
just
action
because
is
I'm just
not
concerned you guys are going to keep on going and say it's a bad idea. Yeah, but it's this, but it's a bad idea. You know what I mean? So let's work together towards something that's a good idea that everyone likes.
Give me a second. I'll think.
Well, I just
Go ahead.
assume that like we keep the meeting as usual, but I mean, not us stage the attack, but like not at the place. You know, that's too suspicious, especially with a bunch of people. We got to keep it secluded. This is
Yeah, you know
heist,
where
not a
she
burglary.
works. You could follow her. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, stage an attack against her, like a fake attack, and then what, we come into the rescue?
Pretty much. Have you seen Power Rangers? Oh, sorry. That was Criana.
Yeah, that was great. Roll lore Power Rangers. No.
I mean, that's a
gotta-
better idea.
Well, we got to flesh it out still, but it's an idea.
I get the idea that we need to convince her we're not the evil Order of the Lapine. I get that, and that could be complicated. If we can think of any way doing it that doesn't involve staging an attack, where my only concern is that there's a dozen things that could really go wrong with that, as in a witness that catches something they're not supposed to see, or but hey, that may be our only option, honestly.
Well, your concern is an actual attack. We just make sure that it looks like one.
No, my concern is that we make an attack that looks like an attack, and someone sees that, hey, it's our people. That's my biggest concern. If we can find a way to stage an attack where there's no chance it will get back on us.
Can I say something real quick, if it's okay, just a reminder? Do you remember that street fight on your opening night and a guy named Sharktooth who came on by, and he had like this little selling number scheme, and you tried to work kind of something out with him, but you know where he is, and you know he has kind of some goony guys, and they're not necessarily evil, they're just gamblers, right?
And we got money.
Yeah. See, that I like.
Sharktooth likes money.
I think that I'm much more comfortable with the idea if
Sharktooth likes money.
I think I'm much more comfortable with the idea if we're not if our people aren't the ones pretending to attack. So if we can find someone else like Sharktooth.
I think what we need is I really like the idea of getting Dex Delaney like to kind of help us out figuring this out, because I feel like he has a better grasp of like the tiers of badassery people in the city. So like if we get him to verify like, okay, how does this plan sound? Does it work with, I guess, the lore of all the other shit that's going around? just to
Sure.
get his opinion. I mean, he's in deep like with us, so I don't think it would hurt to get like another opinion, especially from someone who's familiar with the city a little bit more than we are.
Sure, I'm okay with that.
But first, Ellie looks
Popcorn! Get your popcorn!
What happened to the balloons? Ellie's like marching around.
Oh, he's down the street now. You gotta chase after him. He's by the display of the future, the inventions of the future.
Oh, I think that's where we were heading next. He's like, he knew.
Oh my God! It's almost like God made the man go there.
All right, now that we've gotten that mostly settled, and we can deal with that when we're done here. Can we please look at the things and get my balloon?
This is a first for Patrick. He looks sour.
Patrick, please, I want us to have fun. Look, Ellie like grabs Patrick's cheeks and like squishes them to get his face. His face cheeks.
That was face is sour but slightly squished.
Yeah, she's like, Patrick, please, this place is literally made for us to have a good time. Just smile.
You know, we have some time, I guess, to.
Yeah.
I would also like to look around.
Yay! Okay, let's go get a balloon. Here, you can have. Here, you have. She like hands him over a root beer.
Popcorn first.
Oh, yeah. I would offer you mine, but it's gone.
Al will buy some popcorn. How much was that, Inferno?
That's just a penny.
Ah.
By the way, Allie, how the heck are you holding all those on my face?
She like she like lets go and grabs her food again.
She lets go and quickly your cotton candy falls back into your hand and the bowl of ice cream.
That was close.
And one of the slushies.
She's got like the slushy like on her teeth.
And the cat.
And a cat. No.
And then Mitten's head turns around and he
God.
says, "This indeed is a strange universe we live in."
Crap,
then
guys,
Ellie
hang
wakes
on.
up.
We gotta go to Parents Post. We gotta drop Mittens off.
Okay, but in all seriousness, all right, yeah. So the next place you guys wanted to go was the Inventions of Tomorrow display, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Ellie flags down the man with the balloon. Says, "Oh, hello there. Hello there, miss. What color would you like?" And as you look up, you see a couple light gray ones, a dark gray one,
All
a
right.
really dark gray one that almost looks almost white.
I would like the dark gray one, the white one, the other the other dark gray one, the light gray one, and then another light gray.
Now, are you pointing to them, or are you just saying what you want?
She's saying what she wants. She's like staring up at them.
The guy looks quizzically, and he looks up at them, and he goes, "No, sir, I don't got no gray or white ones. I got red, and I got green, I got a yellow, and I got an orange."
Oh, Ellie looks back. Sorry, my eyes don't work good sometimes.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
No, I'll just take one of each color, please.
Sure, he says. That'll be. He pauses for a moment and be like, "Well, you know, my youngest kind of has that same condition, so I'll give you half off. So only 4 cents."
Oh, thank you.
Okay.
Pay
There
the
you
man
are.
out.
And
Al takes out a nickel and says, I mean, he doesn't say keep the change. That just sounds demeaning when it's a nickel. He just gives him a nickel.
yeah, okay, fair enough. He says, "Oh, thank you," and he starts rooting around for change for the penny.
That's perfectly okay. Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much, sir. And he plucks out each of the colors of there, and he hesitates for a moment, and he looks at Ellie, and your hands are just heaping full of snacks and food. And he's like, "Do you want me one of your pals here to carry your balloons, or?"
No. Ellie like looks at them and looks back at her hands. Are they like string balloons, or are
Yeah.
they...
Oh, yeah. They're string balloons. Yeah, yeah.
She'll juggle around and like
Oh,
hold,
God.
kind of like try and hold out her wrist. Could you please tie
Uh-huh.
them around my wrist for me?
Oh, yes, certainly, ma'am. He says as he is it going to be all 4 balloons on like one wrist?
Yep.
and Ellie floats away.
Yay! That's a new adventure.
Al will look at him and shrug apologetically and say she's going for a new record.
Oh, okay. Oh, I heard that. Those beer makers are putting up a book. Anyway, about world records and stuff like that. You're not one of them, are you?
Huh?
Oh, maybe one day he'll say, not knowing
okay.
what he's talking
And sure
about.
enough, he ties the balloons up to you, up to Ellie's wrist, all of them, and now Ellie has 4 balloons attached to her arm.
Yay!
Okay, and you now stand in front of a very large, bright banner screaming at the banner itself isn't screaming. The text is screaming about the wonderful inventions of tomorrow. And sure enough, you see an animated young man. He has freckles all over his face. He's wearing a flat top kind of Barker's hat. And sure enough, you do see about half a dozen other people kind of milling around the front table. And he's happily and animatedly explaining these inventions. He has these big Coke-like bottle glasses on his face, and he's very, very eager and excited. He looks like maybe in his early 20s or so. He says, well, you remember sliced bread, right? That just came out a couple years ago. The supermarkets are selling that. Well, what if you don't want your bread just to be bread for your sandwiches? What if you want some toast? Now, normally, Miss Jane or Miss Mary or Mr. Smith, they'd have to go ahead and fry that up on top of the oven. Not anymore. I present to you something that is very exciting. Something called a toaster. Yes,
Ooh.
that's right. You place your pieces of bread on it, and special grills on either side toast your bread to absolute perfection. Once it gets it right the first time and every time. Scientists think that our entire kitchens, our entire houses will be filled with inventions in which we just have to push a single button or a single lever or a single dial, and everything will be done for us. When it comes to bathing, cooking up a wonderful salad, changing the stations on a radio while lounging on your favorite couch. Everything can be done with just a flick of a button, and the toaster will be the first of such inventions, he says. Now, this is something for you ladies. Now, are you concerned that after going through an emotional time or maybe having a little too much hooch the night before, your face seems puffy, your head aches, and you wish you had something to soothe up against it? Well, we present to you the, well, frankly, it's called a hangover mask. It's supposed to assist all individuals, and each of it has these wonderful little packets in which you put iced cubes in there. And it's a complete and utter fantastic invention in which you cover your face and it soothes all the puffiness and it eases your mind. And sure, of course, it looks a little gainly. You look like that Zorro fellow in the pictures. But I assure you, after just 20 minutes of application, every single woman who has worn this has said their faces look nice and refreshed and wrinkle and puffy free. Now, this invention comes all the way across from the Pacific Ocean, made by folks in a country called Japan. Now, they have a big problem about pests, mice and rats and that sort of thing. And although we have a little bit more civilized society, especially those of you working out or living out by the farm areas, you can sometimes have some unlikely little inventors. Little inventors. Oh my goodness, Inferno. Talk. Little strangers coming into your house. Well, this is something that will knock off those socks and get them to go far, far away. As you can see, this can be hooked into a simple AC plug, and it will automatically, every few minutes, make a meowing sound to make it seem like you yourself have a cat in the abode, and that will scare all the little critters away who don't want to be gobbled up by your cat. The best thing is that unlike a real cat, you don't have to feed it, you don't have to worry about kittens, and if it annoys you, you can always just unplug it. and 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 that is it for the displays of the amazing future technologies of tomorrow.
Al wasn't sure what he was expecting, but sadly he is disappointed.
What? God says fuck you.
No. Squee is not disappointed whatsoever.
I know. I'm just cursing your character.
Yeah, I know. But I mean, Al's just like, oh, right, we're in the past.
Hey, do you have a new grenade?
Yeah.
This is nothing like an Ishpeming. They had a grenade gun.
Does your toaster, is it nuclear powered or...
We're solar powered.
Inferno.
Yeah.
There's been some technical difficulties. Can you put the pictures?
No, I moved them. It's good. I got him.
Okay, cool. Got
Sorry. This is a new setup for me. I got the pictures.
Oh, people on the stream didn't see what the heck I was talking about?
Now they do.
Okay, cool. Toaster, hangover mask, cat mew. The cat mew is my favorite.
I love the cat mew.
Cat mew's pretty good.
Like, my whole thought the whole time is like, you don't have to feed it, you don't have to, but you can't cuddle with it. You can't.
Hangover
can't
mask is
pet it.
very good.
Yeah.
It
Anywho,
looks so ridiculous.
I know.
I'm blind.
I know it does. Okay.
Patrick is very as miffed as he was before. He understands what a toaster is. He's seen at least 3 in his life in this giant junk pile in his home.
Yes, that's true.
He's definitely not he may have seen things like it, but he's never seen them intact or as how it was used. He's poking at things. He's even checking out the toaster to make sure it's toast.
Oh, yeah. Now, the fellow will happily provide a demonstration, taking a bit of bread and showing it off. And sure enough, putting the piece of bread inside the little slot and pulling down the lever. You wait about 40 seconds or so, and then pop comes a piece of toast bread.
Oh, man. Does this... actually, no, yeah, he would just be he'd look. He was just gonna try to look in the hole to see how if he can see any clamps or anything like that.
Oh, be careful, sir. There's a lot of heat that comes off the top there. But if you're curious as to how it operates, there's these special grills on the left side and the right side. And sure enough, that little lever there tells them to just start cooking it up. And when the lever comes up, the electricity stops flowing through those grills and they cool right off. Although the toaster does get quite warm for the next 5 to 10 minutes, so I wouldn't suggest touching it, especially around the base or the sides. But as far as toast goes, it's hot and piping and ready to smear some nice butter over it.
Patrick looks wondrous and nodding along.
I know, it's quite something, huh? I don't know what else those wonderful folks are going to come up with.
How much for the cat?
Well, no, I understand how excited you are here, man, but just display items to kind of show these new inventions off. They'll be hitting stores in at least another month or 2, so keep your eyes out. These are new breakthrough technologies, you see.
It's very good.
Yeah, I like to think so.
There's no
It's
way
kind of
I
a
could
cute
get
noise.
you to sell the display? earlier? I mean, how long are
Okay.
you running the show?
Physical beauty check.
I always
Bad
fail.
eyelashes.
I
I know
always
you.
fail
Well,
these.
you succeeded one when you said you always fail.
Oh,
but-
did I? Okay, hang on. Let me.
All right,
Al
know.
rolls physical beauty check. Wink, wink, nudge, no.
Oh God, hang on. Let me remove
The
that
guy
part.
calls the police. They're arrested for buggery.
Go. Oh.
Whatever plan we come up
Oh.
with, it's without Al because he's in jail.
Wow, succeeded 23. And what is it? Isn't it like a 60% or something like that?
65.
Ooh, yeah, that's almost that's 42. He kind of scratches his neck a little bit, and he goes, "Well," he says. He kind of takes you to the end of the table outside of everyone else, and he says, "Well, it's actually not the only one I have. I was given 2 in case the demonstrated model, it broke, or someone took it or something like that, or
Uh-huh.
or the
I don't want to
electricity
take
wasn't
it.
working."
I just want to buy it. It's
Oh,
so cute.
yeah, cute. He says as he looks into your eyes for a while, staring for a bit, as he says, "Well, how about this?" He says, I wouldn't feel right like taking money and putting it in my own pocket, but I do run a group called the Young Scientists Committee, and maybe if you made a donation to that, that could help future scientists invent things maybe even better than the cat mew.
Yeah, I would love to donate.
Oh, okay. He pauses for a moment. He goes, "How much do you want to donate?"
Hold on. Let me go talk to my friend real quick and see how much money I have. I'll be right back. Okay?
Okay, yeah, sure, he says. Then like a little color rising to his cheeks.
Ellie will wander over back to Al and Patrick and be like, "Guys, how much money do I have?"
Well, at the moment, I thought you said none.
That's right, but like, how much money can I want to buy the cat thing? And he says I can make a donation to the science thing. And,
Oh, well, how much?
Well, I know I have $40, so I could give him $40. I would just have to run and find Bear.
Well, I mean, you can take mine, and then I can just get it from you later.
You don't mind $40? That's like $2 million this time period.
I mean, sure. Do you really want it?
I do, and look, I could give it to him. This is for a good cause. This is for science, Al.
Al shrugs. I mean, I'm not really using it for anything, and I'm sure we have plenty more if we really need it. And Al will so naively hand over 2 $20 bills.
Thank you,
And
Al.
he now has $2.94.
Remind me to pay
Which
you
is
when
still
we
a
get
lot of
back.
money in this time period.
Yeah.
Ellie will wander over back and to the man, and she'll go up to him. She'll be like, "Okay, you promise this is gonna be for your experiments?" This
Oh
isn't
yeah,
gonna-
cross
this
my
isn't-
heart, he says as he literally crosses his heart. The word of Barton French is good.
Okay, good. So Ellie will hand him the 220s.
Oh, and he like takes a double take, and his eyes bug out for a little bit, and he like puts the $20 down, like he doesn't want to see anyone. He goes, "Holy smokes! Oh wow! That's very generous, ma'am. Oh wow! Oh okay, yeah.
This
Cross
is for
my heart.
Your science. Okay.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
you
yeah,
can,
cross
you,
my
I mean,
heart,
you can
cross
take
my-
a few to get lunch or something. I mean, that's fine too. But I just wanted to mostly go to science.
Okay. He says, "Listen, I can't just literally like give it. Okay. Hold on.
Okay.
Your hands just seem a little full right now, and it's
Oh.
come in like this little wooden box that was shipped in, and there's no markings on
Oh,
it. So
I
carrying a
gotcha.
box isn't the strangest thing.
Sure.
But I
Hang
need
on
someone
one
to hand the
second.
box
She'll
to me.
she'll look over at Patrick and Al, give like a whistle for them to come over.
Al will come over. Well, yeah, he'll come over. Hey,
Uh-huh.
Ellie.
Hey.
Hi, they're gonna be my. Can you be my arms for me? I'm a
Oh,
little bit full.
hey, Dr. Johnson. Hey, good to see you. Yeah, I have it right here for you, sir. He says as he looks over to Al, and he goes underneath one of the countertops, and he takes out this solid, it's about as big as a bread box, wooden box. He says, "Yeah, here you go. Kept it here, just for you. Glad to be of service, there, Doctor." As he makes a big show of handing it over to you, Al.
Anytime.
Good.
Ellie gives a smile and like a little curtsy for what she can do with all her hands being full. It was nice to meet you. Hope you have a good day.
Yeah, thank you again for the donation, ma'am. And he pauses for a moment, almost like he wants to ask something else, and then another color hits his cheek, and he goes back to his counter. And as you continue to peruse around a little bit, he takes a couple, knowing and grateful glances your way. But we can continue on if you like.
All right, are we gonna go check out the vehicle next, or did you want to look more at the toaster?
Oh no, I'm good on the toaster.
Okay.
All right, so yeah, the vehicle.
Okay, so the vehicle is just, we'll say, about 50 feet away or so from the large crowd that's circled around the center of the city. But sure enough, the vehicle is manned by a gentleman in a suit and tie.
My goodness.
And he is behind the wheel of a very long and strange contraption. He begins to proudly boast that this vehicle has engines in it that are advanced by at least 10 years or so. That it hasn't even hit the race circuit just yet. And he, Milton Chrysley, the third, is planning on sponsoring a Velda City races. He says all the big towns in the country have their own special races, and he's taken this car to the science fair. Sorry, not the science fair, the science expo, to demonstrate the raw power, the excitement, and the profitability of having such a race here. Unlike the eager, bespectacled young man behind the adventures of tomorrow, this gentleman seems very well to do, extremely intelligent when it comes to the specification of engines and how they operate. You would overhear him speaking with a couple other, grease monkeys in their overalls, asking a lot of very technical questions. Technical questions that I'm sure only Patrick, with his particular skill set, would even understand what the heck they're talking about, unless Al or Ellie have a mechanical skill, science skill, but I don't think you guys do.
No.
Yeah, okay, all right. So it's a lot of technobabble, for lack of a better word, that Patrick definitely understands. And he very happily, after a few minutes, starts up the engine. You can hear it roar with this big cacophony, and a few women and young children kind of give a bit of a start and a scream and a bunch of nervous laughter as he begins to ask people to kind of make way so he can tear this thing down the street and really show how fast this thing can accelerate. And off to one side, these same grease monkeys that were chatting with him, they seem kind of skeptical about his claims. He says he can get 20 miles an hour in 5 seconds, which to them seems astronomical and ridiculous. So they're taking a friendly wager of a couple bucks apiece to see whether that's actually true or not. One's betting that he actually won't hit it until 20 miles per hour till about 20 seconds, while the other one's saying 12 seconds.
Al is just silently missing his hover bike.
Patrick, you should join the bet.
Oh, I haven't given it too much thought, but Patrick is then going to start thinking, like, through all the things that he said and what he generally knows of future tech, exactly how much validity this particular thing might have?
That's an excellent question. We'll do a skill check for that. You have let me open up your character sheet here real quick.
I have pilot automobile.
Mm-hmm.
I have a mechanical engineer.
That's what I was looking for, mechanical engineer. So go ahead and roll that, and make it harder by 20, because this is past tech as compared to a tech that you're used to.
I fail by 12. So
Well,
I would put in my particular whatever my character says and have the $2 towards that.
Okay. You're gonna guess that they're probably right. You're guessing that maybe he's not right off the get-go, but you do know it's definitely going to be less than 12 seconds. So we'll say we're going to assume it's around 7 or 8 seconds, right?
Okay.
You put down your cash, and as this fellow starts to start up the engine, you notice something. You hear something. You hear this on the underlay, a high pitched whine when the engine kind of starts up. It only lasts for about 3 seconds. Al and Ellie, you notice for just a moment the driver, the demonstrator, his face looks concerned for just a split second, but it's then quickly replaced with cool confidence that everything is just fine. Patrick, you have an inkling that sound does not sound normal. However, you're not too sure, just at a glance and a listen, exactly what the issue is.
And then it turns into a werewolf.
Yeah, and then it turns into a werewolf. Yes, we figured it out.
I wouldn't be surprised.
You all get killed by robo-werewolf car.
Ferdo just sounded like our disappointed uncle.
Right. Let's be fair here. Not the craziest thing that would have happened to us.
Fair enough.
On Riffs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want me to continue on with the demonstration and let him run, or do you guys want to think about it for a moment, act, or anything like that?
Ellie will just say, like, boy, he looked concerned for a second, but I guess he knows what he's doing.
Patrick is actually going to start wandering down the line where he's probably going to be going.
Yes. Yeah. You see a lot of bystanders kind of part ways to the left and the right, giving him a clear shot down the street. So you make your way down there as he's getting the final preparations going. And you can see a pretty natural spot about 100 meters before it reaches the next intersection, where it seems likely that he'll try to stop, because he'll put on the brakes and he wants to have enough time to put on the brakes so he doesn't run into traffic going the other way. All right, you meander yourself there, and sure enough, the fellow gets going with the accelerator, and the engine roars one final time, and with a confident little salute to the crowd, and the crowd starts to kind of clap and demonstrate a little bit, he's off down the street. And he's picking up speed, and all of a sudden, some smoke escapes from the top of the carriage, and the fellow begins to slow down the vehicle, and it didn't actually reach 20 miles per hour at all. He decided to kind of put on the brakes beforehand because of the small mechanical failure. As he puts on the brakes, Patrick, he's just about to whiz by you, and you can see from your perspective that it's quite clear that the way he's braking, he's going to be cutting it really close to hitting that main intersection, right? Right now, it's a 50-50 chance that he'll stop in time, but maybe he'll overreach by a couple feet or so. And that itself might be dangerous, because There might be vehicles going the other way that might not be able to to prevent it.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's pretty far down towards the intersection. He's going to keep his eye out for like both ways about
Uh-huh.
like if there's going to be any cars coming around.
Okay.
Uh,
Give me just a moment.
Hmm.
Oh yeah, sorry. I'm sure you want to continue on with that.
as
Ooh. Okay.
I was gonna
You
say,
Mhm.
if there is, I think he might start doing an action.
Oh, okay, okay. You're kind of readying yourself for the inevitable. But it looks like, even though you're prepping yourself for it, this fellow does hit the brakes, and it seems like the last 20 feet or so, he decides to be really rough on the brakes, and you hear another squeak and the sound of a metal sound, but the gentleman does actually stop a good 15 feet away from the intersection. He gives a bit of a chuckle and a wave, and he puts the vehicle in neutral and begins to roll it back to its original spot. In which the grease monkeys kind of snicker and they say, "You got to hit 20 miles per hour first, there, sir, before you can claim you reach there at any sort of time." And to their friendly wager with yourself, Patrick, pretty much no one won, so everyone just got their money back.
Okay.
Okie dokie. Do you guys want to move on to the next little goings on?
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay, all right. So as you meander yourselves down to the big bulk crowd, um, they are naturally making a ring around the center of the street, kind of very similar to what you can see here in the topmost photo. But in the center, instead of just a cluster of men, you see what appears to be two gentlemen, one in a lab coat, while the other one is in a very kind of worn out hat, a simple dark gray overcoat, and kind of like some workers' pants and some high boots. And in between the pair of them, as you politely push your way through the crowd, you see um, the
Oh.
another vehicle, but it is nothing compared to the hot rod racer that you just saw demonstrated. Instead, it appears to be a giant circle covered with rubber, with a peculiar driver's seat and wheel in the center of it. And you can see the two gentlemen, the gentleman in the lab coat and the man in the workers' clothes, kind of talk amongst themselves. As you get closer and watch on, unlike the other displays, neither of these are being presenters or talking about the wonders of the invention or even explaining what it is. Instead, it appears these men are openly bickering with each other. In fact, the gentleman in the workers' clothes is complaining that he wasn't told that he was supposed to test drive this strange monstrosity, and he wants more money before he actually does it. In which the scientist is all blustery and upset, saying that he's being an awful cad for demanding more money in front of all these fine folks who want to see this wondrous invention and demonstrate how it actually works. He says it's going to revolutionize the transportation industry, and this gentleman just wants a couple bucks.
Well, this is uncomfortable.
Yeah. But interestingly enough, a lot of folks are watching and gawking, and perhaps they're drawn by the machine, but you can hear several comments of themselves who are actually being quite entertained by the bickering amongst the two men, because it might have started off slow and quiet, but it's almost turning into a stage play itself, in which the worker in particular is waving his hands around, trying to appeal to the crowd, saying that he's just this simple working Joe, this working stiff, and this egghead is trying to break his neck with something that's never even been tested before, etc., etc., etc. People are kind of getting a bit of a kick of that.
So, Al's like debating if he should just enjoy the show or.
Did we
Well-
get something?
Well,
Perhaps because another opportunity arises because the scientist absolutely his face, if there was in color, would be beet red, but you can see it's dark with frustration and with embarrassment. He says, "Fine, you don't want to work with what we agreed for? I'll find somebody else." And he goes into his lab jacket and he takes out a $5 bill and he says, $5. $5 to any individual, any brave individual who has brains in his head and goodness in his heart, who's willing to demonstrate my invention. It doesn't have to be big. You don't have to go around all of Elda City on it. I just want you to make a simple lap around. The controls are easy as any automobile.
So which one of you is gonna do it?
I can't drive automobiles.
Is it gonna have to be me?
But you can drive hovercraft, right?
Yes, I can.
You're looking at this thing, Al.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, he calls an automobile, and there's a wheel there. But see in the picture how he has those pedals by his feet or whatever? That's more reminiscent of the vertical intake of a hover cycle. I mean, and he's asking for not to go anything crazy. If it was slow and steady, you'd probably be able to fake it.
Al would look to Patrick and he'd be like, "Do you want to? I'll do it if you don't."
Patrick looks over. I can see it in your eyes. This looks like exactly what you want to go for.
Yeah, that's probably true. Like Al's got like that light.
Oh,
like
you
bouncing
know when
a
there's
little
two
bit.
friends and they're like, "Do you want to do it?" And it's very clear that the other person really wants to do it, but they're
That's
just
what,
being
like-
polite and asking.
Do you remember Ipschming when they unveiled the hover bike and asked if
Yeah.
someone wanted to pilot it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Flashbacks, 1930s
Yeah.
version.
Yeah. So Al will raise a hand. He'll say, "You know what? I'll do it, but
Mhm.
I'll do it just to demonstrate your invention. I don't need the $5."
Huh. And with that, the man in the working clothes, he stops his rowdy body, appeals to the crowd, and the crowd itself goes quiet, and you hear a couple of murmurs. And he said, "Did you say he's gonna do this, man? He has got a screw loose. He's Looney Tunes."
Al takes a look at Patrick and just a quick wink at Patrick and says, "Science is worth it." And then he starts like cracking his knuckles and stretching his neck.
Ellie's like eyes light up and is like, "That's so cool."
and the scientist who before was extremely upset and embarrassed, his face, the color has drained out of his face in a good way, and he's all beams and smiling. He goes, "Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. A round of applause for this daring, generous gentleman." And you hear like a couple claps while the man in the worker overalls is crossing his arms and he's fuming, and if looks could kill, he's just staring daggers at Al. But he's not saying anything. He's kind of slipped into the periphery of the crowd, and he's kind of muttering to himself. Just hang head and do this pointy.
Al happily winks at him.
Oh, fuck it. He's taking my money, all this stuff. I hope he breaks his neck, etc.,
Oh my
etc.
God.
Ellie can hear this like clearly because she has excellent hearing.
Ellie's just like eating her popcorn watching him.
This is cheaper than the movie.
Yeah.
So, like, Al walks up to it all confident, with his back to the crowd, gets to it, looks at it. Face grows a little less confident for a second. Then he reminds himself, no, he can do this.
Wasn't a wise man who said all skill is 90% confidence? Anyway. Okay, so Al, the scientist is very patient with you. He invites you to sit in. He says, "Don't touch anything just yet. Let me show you where the accelerometer is, the accelerator is, and the balance pedals, right?" He says, all you have to do is when the engine starts up, don't be startled. You're going to feel a lot of vibrations against your back. That's normal. That's just the engine, all right? Then you're going to press the accelerator. You want to be nice and slow and smooth, right? Don't jerk it around like it's the handshake of your best pal, right? You want a nice and simple, smooth motion. And when you want to decelerate, you want to do the same thing, all right? When the accelerator comes in, you'll start moving. Go very slow, all right? Slow is good. Slow is fine. We got a lot of folks around here. You don't need to startle them or anything like that. Just go around to, you see my little cone right there? And he points to a cone about 50 feet away. He says, just go to that cone. Now, if you can't make the turn, if you don't do the wheel, just put onto the accelerator, get out, stand applause. But if you can, try to go around that and come back to me. Then they'll should be able to see the mobility of it. Is that okay? Okay, yeah, you got this. You got this.
Do this.
Also, by the way, if this does catch on fire, I want you to get out of the vehicle and fall to the ground. And I'll come with you with the blanket, okay?
Al's eyes slowly go from the vehicle to him. Like, I imagine Al sitting at this point in the vehicle, and they just slowly raise up to him.
Don't
Ellie's
worry.
eating her popcorn, switching her gaze over to Al and the gentleman.
And the scientist notices your look, and he says, don't worry, sir. I've run the engine on its own, and it only caught fire to close 2% of the time. And I've done some tinkering. It's very unlikely. All right? And don't worry, if it just gets a little warm, it's no problem. I got blankets. You'll be fine, and you'll be $5 richer. And you'll be popular, too. Everyone likes to be popular.
Sorry. Ellie spits out her popcorn.
It hits the back of a kid's head. He goes, watch it, lady.
A little child. Watch it.
Yeah.
Al's
I talk like a gangster. Everyone talks like this in 1930s, don't you
So
know?
help me.
Al, the doctor who has treated and knows the extent of burn wounds himself personally, his eye involuntarily twitches when he says, "If it gets a little warm."
Just a little warm. Just a little burning.
It's like this is like this twitch. Like,
So now, Al, comes the
all
time
right.
to test. You're going to be doing your pilot hovercraft, but I want you to make it harder by 30%.
Okay.
Now, if you fail, it doesn't mean
You're on
you
fire.
die. You just might catch on fire.
Okay, here we go.
You're pretty
It's
funny.
only a 2% chance, not a 99 or 100.
Shut up,
Here
Piph.
goes nothing. I succeed by 27.
Ooh.
Good job.
Whew.
99 are on. Now, so you do as he demonstrates, and sure enough, the engine is not as smooth and as powerful as the hot rod before. This is like the sound, like if the engine could get the flu and it was sick, that's what it sounds like. It's just coughing out exhaust, right?
Uh-huh.
It's like a lawnmower engine, right? It's crazy. But it's going up behind you, and sure enough, you don't just feel vibrations on your back. This stupid thing is like digging into your back as like one of the pistons is going in and out. But you take away that distraction, and you do as he instructs. You slowly start the accelerator, and sure enough, off you go in this crazy wheel invention. And sure enough, you go down the street, and as soon as you take off, the crowd begins to cheer and laugh as you do so. And as you go around the cone near, 50 feet away, do you want to do anything special? Do you want to do like a little stunt? Do you want to push this thing? Or do you want to just do as he asked?
So, yes, I would. I don't want to speed up because he mentioned that he doesn't want to scare anyone. That
Yeah.
makes sense. So he wants to do like a normal speed, but maybe like a circle or something, like a twirl or
A twirl.
something of that nature.
Flourish.
Okay.
One
Yeah,
flourish.
flourish.
One
Sure.
But
flourish.
at a slow
Mobility.
speed so it doesn't shock anyone.
Okay, all right. Since you succeeded so well, I'm going to say you're going to be able to do a nice little safe flourish. So you go around the cone itself, and you go about another 20 feet towards the scientist, and then you stop for a moment, and you get these controls pretty darn well, right? You hit the left tilt, and you move the wheel the right way, and sure enough, you do 3 really tight spins, almost like it's spinning like a top on its own. And for a moment, the scientist like like gives a jolt and goes, "Oh no!" But as you align yourself back to the scientist and showing that you're doing that on your by yourself and move to decelerate right by his feet, the crowd is just cheering like crazy. They're laughing and they love the little flourish. And as you get out, another big round of applause for you, Al. The scientist shakes his hand, raises your hand over your head, bit of applause, and sure enough, several individuals come out from the crowd to excitedly talk with the inventor. Some of them are common folk in common dress, but some of them seem to be very well-to-do individuals in very sharp suits. Sure enough, before he is pulled away by his eager public, the scientist, the gentleman in the lab coat, says, "Are you sure you don't want the $5? You earned that and more, sir."
No, it's perfectly fine.
Wonderful. And with that, you finish the demonstration to big aplomb. However, as most of the crowd is distracted, the gentleman in the work hat and clothes starts to approaches you, and his chest is all puffed up. He goes, "Hey, you, pal!" As he storms between the little group of 3 of you guys.
Yes, I'm a pal.
Yeah. No, you ain't no pal. You owe me $5.
No, he's pal.
Al, very confident.
Stuff
Let me
it.
Al,
He
very,
says as
very
he points
calmly.
over to. Sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you, Squee.
Yeah.
Go continue.
Al just very calmly says, "No, I don't."
You don't, huh? What, you trying to act like a big man in front of everyone? Big man in front of your gal there, huh? You keep stuffing your face like that, Missy, you're gonna grow as big as a blimp, huh? I can already see it coming out your rear end. And you, pal, as he points over towards
Ella's
Patrick,
trying to look at her butt.
You succeed. Your butt just looks like your butt.
She slaps it a little bit, gently, very gently. Just, "You're a good butt."
Good butt.
Good butt.
And he points to Al and he goes, "And you, Pipsqueak, stop your talking too. I'm talking to your friend here. You don't owe me $5? And why do you not think that, huh? You poached my job. Huh? I had a deal with this fellow, and you just swoop on in and take my money right out of my hand."
Sir, you obviously didn't want to do it, so he had to find someone else. Please, we're both adults here. Stop embarrassing yourself.
Embarrassing myself? I'm not being embarrassed.
Ooh.
I'm talking down a fool who thinks it's okay to... What, is it because of the way I dress, huh? You think I don't need the money? You listen, I got a wife, huh? I got a kid on the way, all right? I need every buck I can, all right? You understand that not everyone is as well-to-do as you, right? So you took the money from me. If you call yourself a decent human being, you just give me the $5 that we're owed. As Inferno knocks his fucking headset off.
Gets actually upset and marches out of the room.
Inferno, come back.
This is $5.
Like Inferno comes back like a week later, $5 Squee. Al would say, "From what I understand, you made a deal with the man. You didn't follow through on that deal. I don't see any reason why he shouldn't find someone else to do it."
Why don't you ask the man for the $5? Doesn't sound like it's any of our business.
Well, I'm supposed to hit him up for money after you embarrassed me like that?
That's what a real man would do.
Oh my god.
What?
With the second you say that, the fellow's bravado doubles. He says, "Real man, huh, little lady?
Yeah.
Okay. You want to see what a real man can do?
Yeah.
All right. Tell you what.
Want to arm wrestle? That sounds very manly.
Not for you. Not with you. I don't want to hurt you, sweetheart.
Ellie,
How about your man here?
No.
Oh, so you're not a real man. You're already denying her a chance to arm wrestle.
Ellie's puts down her food gently on the ground and raises her sleeves, but her balloons kind of get caught in the way, so she's kind of fighting them
He says, a real man doesn't put his hands on a lady. She, unless it's, in a romantic sort of way.
I understand, but you can insult a lady because that's what a real man would do, huh?
Well, you talk like trash, you get treated like trash, but words are different than, putting my hands on you, all right? Ain't no dame wants to do any arm wrestling.
I just
Okay?
said I did.
Al kind of leans in a little bit to him and says, "You know what? No, you're absolutely right. I mean, she would just embarrass you more."
I mean, that is true.
He gives a bit of a bluster. He says, wait, let me get this straight. If I arm wrestle her and I win, you'll give me $5?
Sure. I'll give you $5 if you win.
Well, we can't do it in front of everyone here. That would just be, it wouldn't look right, right?
But I want to do it in front of everyone.
No. Let's go over to the alleyway right there. You see that trash can? We'll put our arms up against that. People won't need to see. Quick and simple. I'll pin your arm to the top of the can, and you'll give me my $5. All right?
Okay.
You know what, sir?
I
know my friend really would like to do this in a place of her decision. How about if I up the ante of another $5?
Oh, Patrick! Ellie looks over at him.
Guy ponders for a moment. He says, $10. You're gonna give me $10 if I can arm wrestle this lady here?
And look on the bright side. If you lose, you don't owe us anything.
Really?
Well, maybe an apology. Apology would be nice.
Ah, yes, Al goes, an apology. You owe her an apology.
The guy pauses for a moment. His lips twitch a little bit, and he looks to each of you. And this, the look of someone looking at something like it's too good to be true. Maybe this man's mama raised him right and told him, Johnson. Why is everyone Johnson? Johnny. Johnson. Everyone's Johnson here. No, Johnny. Johnny, if something's too good to be true, it probably is. But he repeats to Patrick, $10.
Patrick, rifles in his pocket and pulls out 10 ones.
The guy bites his bottom lip once and hard. He goes, all right, fine. Show me where. $10 can go a long way, and I need it, so all right, fine.
Here?
Right here? What, in the dirt? You mean like a box or something? And he looks over to the box in Al's arms, which I'm assuming he put down and picked up again.
Oh, yeah.
He demonstrates.
Yeah.
He drove one-handed, holding the other one like a pizza.
All you hear is,
Okay, you didn't succeed that well.
Yeah, no.
He's not plugged in. Oh, that's funny. Is that a cat in the box?
Al will he'll look around. Is there a table around here somewhere?
Oh yeah, there's a variety of tables that sell crafts and food and picnic tables for people to come and eat. This was definitely, even though it's in the middle of a broad open street, it is an expo. So yeah, there's a picnic table nearby.
Al would motion towards the table and say, "Is that okay, Ellie? Ellie,
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Alternate personality.
Squee
coming
is sorry.
through. Yeah, no, that works.
All right.
And Al would lean in and very quietly whisper, very quietly, because he knows she has enhanced hearing, "Just don't break his arm."
Who am I? Ellie stops herself and nods at Al.
All right, he says, and he meanders over towards there, and it's clear that he has his hands in his pockets, he's looking around, and if you want attention in front of everyone, he's not trying to attract it, right? He's just trying to very as nonchalantly as he can. meander over towards the picnic table.
Ellie's not making us sing. I don't know about the other
Okay.
boys.
No, Al's not. In fact, Al's going to be carefully taking one by one all the stuff so that Ellie can actually arm wrestle, like all the candy and stuff, and hold it for her.
On the top of your box?
Yeah, on top of the box. And he starts like, it becomes even more amazing to him. He's like, my God, she makes it look so easy.
Yeah, you don't have crazy dexterity.
Yeah,
I do,
Patrick's
but not
gonna
like
need
that.
to take a few things.
Yeah.
Alright.
Like Al's got a 20 dexterity, and it's still, she makes it look easy.
Okay, and so he sits across from the picnic table and lets you sit down. And he rests his arms on the table and he goes, do you know how to arm wrestle?
I think so. I'm pretty sure I've done it before.
All right, well, I promise I ain't going to hurt you. I'm going to put my palm down here. So when I push your arm down, the back of your hand is going to hit my palm and not the wood, all right? I don't actually want to hurt you. I just want to
Oh.
make money that's mine.
Okay.
He-
I'll
and he
do
pauses.
the same thing.
And he gives a bit of a scoffing laugh. He goes, yeah, all right, if that makes you feel better, yeah, you go ahead and do the same.
And Ellie will
And
put her down.
he pauses for a moment, and he says, he takes off his hat. He places it on the seat next to him, and he says, my papa did raise me right, though, and in any sort of challenge, whoever your opponent is, you're supposed to shake hands, so good luck, he says, as he puts a hand in front of you.
Ellie puts her hand out that's like covered in candy, sugar, gross stuff. And,
Yeah, like cotton candy and like chunks of popcorn in it.
yeah, and firmly
Okay.
grasps his hand.
All right, he gives a bit of a, like his mouth makes a little twitch as the gunk is on his hand, and when he takes it away, he goes, thanks, and he tries to flick away some of that sticky, sugary stuff on it, and then he brings his arm up in the arm wrestle stance.
And Ellie will do the same.
Okay. Now, normally, remember when you arm wrestled that orc? Your strengths were at least somewhat comparable. You had, augmented strength, but he was a big, tough DB, right?
Right.
I'm not going to bother to do an opposed check, right? Because even if you rolled a 1 and I rolled 20, your strength over this average man is just so strong, you're going to win this. It's just fact, right?
Yeah.
So the question is how do you want to win it? Do you want to make it look like, he's trying really hard, or do you want to just be like 1 second, boom, there, done, right? Like, do you want to make a show of it? Do you want to make it look like he's winning? How do you want to? Because you're in complete control of
think
this.
Ellie's not gonna flourish it. If she can just bring his hand down, she'll just bring it down.
Okay,
Like, she
all
won't
right.
slam it down. She'll be gentle with him.
Yeah, but not gonna make a big dog and pony show of it.
Right.
Okay. So, sure enough, in one moment he has a confident smile on his face, and the next second his arm is up against, his palm is against your hand, and he looks on absolutely stunned. He takes his arm out for a second, and he holds it, and he touches his palm and his fingers, and he looks up at you, Ellie, and he looks back down into his arm, and he goes, Jeepers creepers. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for being rude to you there, miss, and I'm sorry, sir, and you too. And he nods over to Patrick. I was really upset. I still am a little upset.
How far along
But-
is your wife?
5 months, ma'am, but... And he kind of looks bewildered and baffled, still, like, trying to process what's going on.
Well,
5 months,
I hope she has a very happy and healthy baby. I'll give the man the $5.
Al looks to Patrick. Patrick, can I borrow $5? He gave Ellie all his money.
I thought you just got $5 from the man.
No, I refused it because I thought it was enough payment just to do it.
Oops. Well, that
Like-
goes. That one's on me. Patrick, give the man
So-
$5.
So Patrick nods to Al and clearly takes out another 5 ones that he just put away, knowing that this man
Yeah.
had no chance.
Yeah.
And then gave all 5 ones to Al.
Like honestly, Al's thinking of it is simply that his payment was he got to ride this thing. So Al will give him the $5.
The man takes his other free hand and he takes the $5, and now he's looking stunned in disbelief in both his hand that was in the arm wrestle and now a hand that's holding $5 from these strangers that he berated and threatened. And he looks up at you, and you can see underneath his eyes there's a little bit of a tear, and he says, "I'm real sorry. That really wasn't right of me.
You're stressed.
Desperate men are stupid sometimes."
Nah, it's okay. I get it. You're stressed out. Just remember, there are good people out there. Don't always go yelling at them right away. Just try talking to them. Otherwise, they might arm wrestle you. Ellie shrugs.
Yeah, you're right, ma'am. I'm sorry again, and thank you for your understanding and your hospitality. And I'll do right. And I'll raise my son or my daughter to think that way too.
Good.
I don't know what got into me. All right. Well, you have yourself a pleasant day.
You too.
You as well.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye. He says as he takes off, his hat in his hand, and takes another glance behind his shoulder, and goes on his way. And before you wrap up your time here at the Velda City Science Expo, maybe you start, getting a few more things, looking around, chatting with folks, or heading towards your car. I'd like each of you to roll me a d20, please. Ellie, I'd like you to make it better by 5.
Okay.
Al, I'd like you to make it better by 2. And Patrick, I'd like you to make it better by 1.
And this is a D20. So
D20,
I add 5.
Add 5.
All right, I'll go 15. And Al would also say when after he left, he'd be like, "That was a very nice thing you did, Ellie."
What? She's putting food back in her mouth.
Al just shakes his head.
Ellie, as you turn your head back away from Al to whatever the heck he was talking, and reach in for more popcorn and candy corn in your mouth, you catch something off the corner of your eye. It's quite clear because the attire stands out in the crowd. It's a woman dressed pretty much all in white with big dark buttons down the front. You see the husky form of Donna Wright meandering through the crowd as well, who it looks like is also enjoying the expo.
Well, would you look at that?
Oh. Well, I suppose this would attract all kinds of people.
Yeah. Well, it's not like it. We went out of town. I guess I shouldn't be surprised. That was weird of me for being surprised. Ellie says, scratching her head, the back of her head, and then getting her hand stuck in her hair.
Al thinks about it for a second, and then he kind of gently elbows Patrick to get his attention. He says, "I know she said that she doesn't want to get involved, but do you think it's worth asking if she'd put a good word in for us with the nurse?"
No, that is
There's
the nurse.
Oh, God, I'm sorry.
You thought it was Mrs. Johnson, didn't you?
Yeah, I don't have my name sheet
Miss
pulled
Johnson.
up, so
Yeah, no, Donna Wright is the nurse. It is the nurse.
Donna Wright. Got it. Thank you. Never mind. Al would do none of these things.
I mean, we can let it hang here, of course, if you want.
Sure.
Or you guys can take about 10 minutes or so to chat about the plan of action, because I know you have a work meeting next week, Miss Criana, so you won't be able to make it, but you can definitely put in your 2 cents in right now and then catch us up again, the following, obviously.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't mind leaving it here just so Bern
Sure.
and Lavin can get some input.
Spiral.
Spiral.
Sure. Well, it works for me. It's an opportunity that you can use. plan something else. But yeah, I think it's a good place to end it too. It's great, wonderful. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, so
All right.
Are we ending it?
Yeah, we're gonna end it. Thank you very
Okay.
much for watching, guys. We'll
Take
catch you
care,
next week.
everyone.
Bye, everyone. Hang on. Do I have any gifts at the ready? I can just kind of toss your way real quick.
Yay!
Good for
So
you. Yay,
final-
gifts.
Let's take a look at my desktop here and see what I. Just gotta close out some windows so I can. Oh, here we go. This is pretty good.
We need to take a look at the Rifty Fill soon and see if there's any fan art we haven't been
Yeah,
shown.
we do
Oh,
have
yeah.
a little bit of it for sure.
Yeah, we can gather it up and do it later. But yeah.
For sure. That's right. You know what? You're absolutely right. We haven't shown off our artwork in ages.
Yeah.
Bad
yeah.
us. We always used to do that. Now we forget. We get so excited to get into the game, I guess.
That's right.
Mhm.
All right, everyone. We're closing out with Superman being scared by a kitty.
At least it's not a Japanese robot cat.
It's true. Everyone have a good night. Good night.
Take care, everyone.
I think this